Please take your seat. The show is about to begin.
Presented by Front Yard Fantasy. I'm your host, Simon. Joined as always by my wildly handsome co-host, John Luke Garofalo. Our friend Coop with us, aka Coop A. Fiasco.
Woo! Welcome into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show. I am your host for at least the next 10 minutes, JL, joined by my good friend Coop. How you doing, Coopy?
Good, man. For the next 10 minutes at least, it is Coop and the Hogs
Coop
this
and the
morning.
Hogs. Yeah, we got Tommy in the chat. He said, from Super Bowl champs to out of the race, down go the Rams as Baker falls on his face. Beautiful.
And not unexpected. Not unexpected for Baker to not be the savior that can show up and instantly learn the playbook and dominate. But way she goes.
Turns out that's pretty hard to do.
Imagine that.
Imagine that.
The only person capable of that is obviously Latavius Murray.
I was gonna say Brock Purdy, but yeah, Latavius Murray, you're right.
Well, Brock Purdy at least has been with the team. Like Latavius Murray just showed up and he's like, I'll play 100% of snaps now.
Yeah. Bye, Melvin Gordon.
Maybe he's a football genius. You never know.
Maybe Latavius Murray was the one that was playing future in the locker room and was like spreading a rumor like, guys, can you believe it? Melvin Gordon is playing future.
Imagine
now.
You look over and he's like, because he wasn't even there at the time, was he?
Yeah, I know.
So like they look over and there's a janitor with like a fake mustache, just, like sweeping up. Dude.
It's me, playing the future.
There was a
it was a Melvin Gordon the whole time.
Why is he Italian, dude?
Because he's got a mustache. What else would he be?
It's a me. Yeah. He pulls it off, and they're like, "Wait a minute, that's Latavius Murray."
Oh man, well, it is that time. Bring your own breakfast. We go over news stories, drink our breakfast, smell our coffee, do fun things.
Drink our breakfast juice out of our special breakfast juice cups.
Dude, I got it right here. OJ, baby. Oh, Grimace. You going to drink out of that? You can't drink Grimace. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, sure.
We got Daddy's home in here. Said, dude, it's too early for this. You're telling me. You're telling me, Mike.
There he is. Me and Mike we went out to Gillette Stadium last night to watch the game. So
really?
Perhaps extra early for the boys. Yeah, he came by, popped on the fantasy besties last night to give some takes. It was a good time. But yeah,
very nice.
Makes the morning a little earlier sometimes, but I'm feeling spry. I'm ready to rock and roll.
Feeling good. Feeling excellent.
Excellent, dude. I'm feeling exactly excellent. But you know who reportedly is not feeling excellent?
Who?
Jalen Hurts.
Oh yeah, shoulder something.
So that seems to be the rumor. There were a lot of rumors floating around. The biggest one, it's kind of interesting. Sometimes this does happen, and it confirms what we've kind of know, which is that Vegas, they know everything. They have people everywhere, spies basically, crawling around under the stadiums, in the locker rooms, digging through trash. Because yesterday, out of nowhere, the line for the game, the line for the Eagles dropped like 4 points.
Really?
Yes. And that was what triggered it for a lot of people. That's what triggered the speculation at first. I got a text message from our editor, John Impemba, over at Fantasy Line that said the line went from -5 to -1. And people immediately started speculating as to what and, what could do that. And the number one thing, Jalen Hurts being hurt. Sure enough, within the next half hour, 45 minutes,
News started trickling out.
Adam Schefter saying that. At first, people were saying collarbone, which that's one you can't play with, right? So, but now it seems like it's just like a shoulder situation. We'll see.
Yeah, from Mike Garofalo, we got Jalen Hurts suffered a sprained shoulder in yesterday's game against the Bears. It's not considered a long-term injury. What does this do for Jalen Hurts and the Eagles the rest of the season, Coop?
I mean, it really depends on these type of injuries end up being pain tolerance a lot of times. Or I mean, if it's throwing shoulder ability as well, but if he can play on it and deal with getting tackled, then he can go. If not, it's going to be Gardner Minshew. And unlike some of these other teams, going from Jalen Hurts to Gardner Minshew does change a lot. In fact, that's what we talked about. We're like the switch from, say, a Jimmy Garoppolo to a Brock Purdy didn't change a whole lot because they have the same playing style, really. The playbook didn't change. I mean, you watch these games, it doesn't look like they're calling different plays. But with Gardner Minshew, we've seen it in the past where it does change. They throw a lot more higher A-dot routes. Last time he played, he threw 2 touchdowns to Dallas Goedert. A lot could change here. So if it is Gardner Minshew, the outcomes for a lot of these guys are going to change. And to be honest, for fantasy football purposes, a lot of them, their value is going to go up, right?
Yeah. For Minshew, you're talking about because of the passing?
Because the reality of the running game in fantasy football is that it can kind of leech the value from a lot of players. Like when Jalen Hurts goes out and scores 3 rushing touchdowns this week, he's the only one that gets those points. With Gardner Minshew, if he's dumping it down to Miles Sanders, handing it off to the running backs, we saw it last year when Miles Sanders rolled his ankle. Jalen Hurts also rolled his ankle. What ended up happening? A lot more guys started getting red zone touches, goal line touches. Boston Scott scored a bunch of touchdowns. Even Jordan Howard scored touchdowns. Kenneth Gainwell, like those guys all stepped up. They threw it to, like I said, they threw it to Dallas Goedert a little more in the red area. Whereas right now, Jalen Hurts just finds ways to walk into the end zone, right? He's got the second most red zone carries of any running back, of any player in the league behind only Jamal Williams. So, he might be a better passer outright than Gardner Minshew, but they might end up just throwing more higher volume. So at the end of the day, this actually could, fantasy-wise, help a lot of the pass catchers. Primarily Miles Sanders and Dallas Goedert. It could hurt Devonta Smith and AJ Brown. Yet to be seen. But I don't know. Now, the real question is, if you're in a super flex league and you just lost Jalen Hurts, you going in on Minshew? Are you getting the Minshew mania, JL?
I'm getting the Minshew mania for sure because he's still on that Eagles offense. The Eagles offense is pretty stacked. And Gardner Minshew, I think, is a good enough quarterback that he's worth a pickup. We got. What do you think?
I'm in, man. Plus, he's a lot of fun, dude. He's just fun to root for, right? Like after the game, like he knows that he only gets limited chances. So you can see after the game, he goes around, gives every single person that can reach from the stands a high five. Takes pictures of everybody, signing autographs. If you're wearing a Minshew jersey at the game, he's coming up and he's giving you a big kiss. Like that's Gardner Minshew. That's how
on the mouth.
On the mouth, dude, with tongue.
Probably big old wet smooch.
Might run his hands through your hair a little bit. You know what I mean? It's just that's part
hand
of
to the back of the head. That intimate hug move.
Runs his hand down your cheek softly. Yeah. So yeah, you can get caress. Wear that Minshew jersey, Ali. You could get a little caress. You know what I mean? So
I'll break out one of my many Gardner Minshew jerseys next time I go to an Eagles game. We got Scott Fish in the chat. Said, sorry I'm late. Was watching highlights from Barry Sanders' first NFL game versus the Cardinals.
That's my all-time favorite player, Barry Sanders.
I don't know. You could be watching that early, Scott. Kids go to school. Scott pulls up the old Barry Sanders highlights.
Finally got the place to myself. Find a little peace and quiet. Barry Sanders.
His wife comes in. He's like, "What? Nothing.
What are you watching?" I was watching porn. It definitely wasn't Barry Sanders.
It wasn't Barry Sanders highlights.
Not
at 7 a.m. It wasn't.
Nah. Hey, look who it is,
boys.
What up?
Coop and the Hogs. We were already talking about Gardner Minshew tongue kissing you and porn. So
tastes like cheese and cigarettes.
Yeah, that's probably what it does.
Cheese whiz and cigarettes.
Yeah, not like any specific cheese, just like generic cheese.
The smell of cheese.
Cheese, like it is distinctly dairy and cigs coming out of menthols.
The kind of cheese that, like, if you're in Europe, they don't even recognize that it's cheese. Like, it legally can't be labeled cheese in Europe.
It's a cheese product.
A cheese product. Yeah, it's a cheese-like substance.
Is it like the Yoo-hoo of cheeses?
Yeah, right. Milk. What does it say on the Yoo-hoo? Milk drink.
Chocolate drink.
Chocolate drink. Just like, nah, I'm good, dude. Thank you, though.
Yeah, I used to drink a Yoo-hoo every single day in middle school. And then one day I was like, this is chocolate flavored water. They just put Ovaltine in some water and then threw it in a can and I'll pay $4 for it.
Yeah.
You made that myself.
Yoo-hoo's okay, though. It's not like
Honestly, I'd rather have that than milk.
Well, that's wrong.
Same.
So.
Were we bringing up Gardner Minshew's cheese stash just for fun, or because he's potentially starting this weekend against or in the Eagles game?
Oh, he is?
The former
Yeah.
latter.
Oh,
Okay, cool.
I didn't know that. No, we were
Yeah,
just
I figured you guys
amazing
were
it is.
just talking about his mustache.
Yeah, we all as we do.
Glorious, dude.
Absolutely glorious.
Get
Well, welcome back, Simon.
Thanks. I missed you guys.
How's
Miss
the
you too,
tummy?
dude.
Oh, perfect. Perfect condition. Never been better.
Never been better.
Never been better. Everything's great.
We got Maria in the chat said, morning. We got Squirrel Bob in there.
What
Morning.
up, Squirrel Bob?
There he is, dude.
Lots of good mornings. Glad to see y'all. And Mike in the chat said, I'd make out with Minshew, to be honest. We know, Mike. We all know, Mike. We're
I can see Daddy somewhere in like a camo Gardner Minshew jersey, like the most Minshew jersey possible, right? Do they have like American flag Gardner Minshew jerseys?
They have to.
Do they have a Bush Light Gardner Minshew jersey?
Oh, I would buy the heck out of that.
They do have camo ones. Oh my, some of these are outrageous now that I'm looking at them. Oh, the red. Oh, that's a Jaguars one.
Let's make a custom Gardner Minshew Bush Light jersey.
Oh,
I feel like that'd be a
do
top seller right there.
dude,
One of those.
there's a Gardner Minshew camo Jaguars jersey where the numbers are American flags.
There we go.
That's pretty sweet.
That's the jersey.
That's a strong look, dude. You're definitely getting a makeout sesh. You wear that to the game, you're getting the sesh, the full sesh.
With Gardner or just in general?
Probably with
Full
Gardner,
sesh.
but probably like 5 or 6 different ladies too. Because I mean, this is a pretty clean looking jersey. Pretty strong look.
Pretty hot.
So hot.
We got Craig in here. Said, good morning, friends of my fantasy world. Wait.
What up, Craig? Welcome in. Glad to have you in.
I gotta
Did you guys talk about already the other backup that's going to be starting this week and for the rest of the season? Nick Foles in Indianapolis.
No, because that's a fake story, but good try.
It's a fake story.
Yeah.
We've been trying
Check
to.
your sources.
You got to be careful with some of those interweb sites because
I
I've
don't even
been
think
looking.
he's on that team.
Dude, the only thing I'm seeing for Nick Foles is I'm seeing a lot of Eagles fans calling for Nick Foles, but
You are the very next thing I'm looking at is telling me that it's a fake story. I read it last night, then was reading it again this morning. It popped back up on my Twitter feed, and I'm sitting right here seeing it's a fake story.
Yep.
Check your
story.
sources, friends.
Check your sources. Nobody's safe out here. But the Rams are out of contention after last night, guys. And Cardinals also got eliminated from contention this weekend. Big bummer.
And with the Rams getting knocked out, I forget who posted it last night, but I did see it's going to continue the longest streak in NFL history of not having a repeat champion.
yeah,
So we're up to like 18 years now of not having a repeat champion in the NFL. And that's the longest streak that we've ever had in NFL history.
Yeah. Remember who the last team was to do it?
Maybe the Patriots.
That's right, dude.
Just
Three
based
out
on
of-
the lack of despair in your voice after this weekend, I assumed it had to be the Patriots.
We're back. 3 out of 4. Patriots won. God bless America.
Did they ever figure out what happened with that lateral?
What about it?
I don't know. I just wanted to find a way to bring it back up.
Besides the fact that it was awesome for 31 teams. 31 teams thought it was amazing. Like literally dude, the funny thing about the Keelan Cole thing is that like the outrage of that is so minimized by the fact that it gave us such an amazing play, right? Like I legit saw people that were like, I really don't care just because we got the greatest play ever because of it. And the greatest screenshot ever that Tommy sent me a picture of his new background, and it's literally a picture of Chandler Jones mushing Mac Jones's face into the ground.
Yes.
So rude, Tommy. So
Tommy,
rude.
I met another Raiders fan last night, and it was a very funny story of how they became a Raiders fan. She was telling me about how she grew up and in her house there was Raiders stuff everywhere. There were cups, there were blankets, like they just had so much Raiders stuff. So she grew up this like diehard Ravens fan, thinking her family just loved the Raiders. Like her family loves the Raiders. So I'm a Raiders fan. She said like last year, this is now a grown adult, went back and was talking to her mom, like, yeah, like I'm going to a Raiders game, like we had all this Raiders stuff around the house growing up. And her mom's like, no, we didn't. But we nobody in this house likes the Raiders. No, like we never had Raider stuff around the house. And what she slowly comes to realize is they just had some pirate stuff around the house. They had black cups with the pirate symbol on them. She, as a kid, mistook it as Raiders gear and became a lifelong Raiders fan. No one else in her family is a Raiders fan.
That's wild. That's like some Mandela effect stuff that affects your like entire life, bro. That's wild. Have you seen the Mandela effect? You guys know what that is?
I have.
That's like the Berenstein Bears or whatever, and everybody thinks it's spelled one way, but it's spelled different. There's a ton of examples.
There's one with Pikachu with like his coloring either on his face or on his tail. I can't remember which one it is.
It's the tail. It's the tail. Yeah. It's wild, dude.
Or her mom is gaslighting her about her being a Raiders fan. It's one of the two. Either it's a Mandela effect or just full on like, no, I never said that.
After the talk rule, they just took all the Raider stuff and burned it, and they pretended that it never happened.
No, that was just my pirate shirt. That was just my pirate shirt, without a doubt.
So, what team was the rest of the family fans of? Did you?
I didn't ask that follow-up.
I would have gone full interview mode. I would have needed to get all the deets on that one, dude. I needed to get deep in there.
And Tommy said Bucks. The cups were black, not red, so she could have ended up a Bucks fan, but I guess got lucky and ended up a Raiders fan.
I don't know. Lucky ? Didn't the Bucks just win the Super Bowl recently?
Yeah, but the Raiders have much nicer jerseys.
That's very true. Probably the coolest in the league.
I agree. I'm with you. JL disagrees, but I can't hear his disagreement.
Probably because he's so wrong that
Frisbee in the chat
voice was
Tua over Jalen Hurts this week. What do you guys think?
Yeah, Hurts is injured.
Yeah, he's got that shoulder injury.
Normally, if they were both full strength, it would be Hurts every time. But you can't risk him testing it out and then just like leaving the game. Not in the playoffs, right? It's not worth it.
Right. Yeah, no, definitely not worth it. Wait and see. We don't know for sure whether he's going to be out this week or if this will be just a short-term thing, if he's going to play this week. Keep an eye on the info, but yeah, I would say what we know right now, Tua over Hurts.
You have a great secondary option sitting there in Tua. It's not like you're taking a massive downgrade. You might as well avoid that risk. And Tua's got a decent enough matchup going up against the Packers. It's not a great matchup, but it's not one of the ones where you stop and hesitate for starting your studs.
Yeah, and the thing with the Eagles is they're 13-1. So, and the Cowboys are. I mean, if they beat the Cowboys, they have the division locked up, right? So, or the division's 99% chance. So it's 98% chance they have a bye week. Well, they need a very specific set of circumstances to not get the bye week. They could lose all 3 remaining games and get the bye week. So,
if the Cowboys lose.
Like according to 538 at this moment, regardless of the outcome of this week, 538 says they've made the playoffs. The chance they win the division is 99%. So that essentially means that things need to go exactly right, and the chances for them getting the first round bye are 98%. Right? If you plug in losses for all these games, those odds are still. They're still like 50%. So yeah, it's like the Cowboys need to lose and the Cowboys need to win out is what needs to happen.
So they definitely want to win, right? But their matchups next 3 weeks are Dallas, New Orleans, and Giants. Definitely beatable teams.
Like if they win any of those games, then they lock up the first round bye automatically in the 1 seed.
Yeah. Yeah, so once they do, you're right. There's probably not much incentive for them to play Jalen Hurts. Maybe they give him a couple weeks to rest.
I would.
You might get a rested Jalen Hurts in your fantasy football championship.
Or he just sits out the rest of the season.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. If they've got it locked, and it sounds like maybe with a Cowboys loss this week or the next week,
they play the Cowboys.
Right. So, but if they beat them this week with Gardner Minshew, it would still be a Cowboys loss, and that would make it even less likely for Jalen Hurts to come in and play. Yeah. And we've seen this Cowboys team recently compete on an even playing field with a not so great team. So I'm not convinced that the Gardner Minshew-led Eagles are just suddenly out of contention in this game because Gardner Minshew's in there. They'll still compete. They still got a shot to win this one. And then I'd be nervous about Jalen Hurts playing the rest of the regular season.
Oh, did you say a not so great team, the Texans, or did you mean the hottest team in football?
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. The team that just went toe to toe
With the
with
Kansas City Chiefs
with a
And
division
the Dallas
champion.
Cowboys.
and the Dallas Cowboys, dude. Stop. Don't look now, dude. That's what we call, that's just like the Lions, dude. That's what we call winning culture, where you think really hard about winning even though you lose. Look where
Hey,
the
it's
Lions
working.
They're winning now.
Now they're winning,
I don't know
dude.
you could talk about that anymore.
So I'm saying Texans, dude. Texans got that fighting spirit now.
While
They
we're talking Jalen Hurts, did you guys see the quote from Jordan Mailata about Jalen Hurts getting hit during these games and popping back up?
Yeah, I
This
did.
was tweeted out by Jeff McClain yesterday, and he was asked about the one that took a little longer for Jalen Hurts to pop up. And Jordan Mailata said, "The one that scared me, he just laid there. I ran over and said, 'Stay down.' And he said, 'Pick me the F up.' And I said, 'Yes, sir.'"
He just
That's
that situation just went entirely differently than he thought. Stay down.
That's-
No, pick me up. Okay.
Okay, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Anything you said.
Yes,
That's
sir. Thank you,
awesome.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
That was
Oh,
awesome.
That's really funny.
You can tell that Jalen Hurts is like truly respected on that team, right? Like they love Jalen Hurts. He's a player's player. His teammates seem to love that dude.
He just bought the entire offensive line and all of the backups and I think we're like reserve squad offensive linemen, Louis Vuitton like luggage or bags this week. Just dropped a bag on it. Ridiculous.
A bag on some bags.
A bag on some bags. So
Bags
makes
on
sense why they
bags.
like them.
Man, I
Hey,
love a good bag.
I have an important question on Jalen Hurts. It's been burning up the Twitter sphere the last 24 hours. As soon as the rumors that Jalen Hurts might be hurt or that he might not play, especially the Eagles beat writers and the Eagles community started immediately lobbying that he should still be, even if he were to miss the rest of the season, that he should still be firmly entrenched in the MVP conversation and should be the MVP of the league. Some people saying he's done enough already. John Clark, for instance, saying, this was not John Clark, it was Ben Baldwin saying Brady was the top graded QB in 2015 with a top 3 offense, despite his wide receiver 1 breaking his foot and having bottom 2 pass protection. But he didn't win MVP that year because another team went 15-1. In other words, I'm not sure why everyone is so surprised that Jalen Hurts might win MVP over Mahomes still. So, what are your thoughts on the possibility? Like, let's say Jalen Hurts were to miss the rest of the regular season at least. Do you still think he should deserve the MVP and that they might vote him as the MVP?
I think he should still be in the conversation, but I don't think he'll win it if he misses the next 3 games. I think especially, unfortunately, I think there's a slight bias away from some of these rushing quarterbacks. A lot of his impressive statistics are in the rushing category: 13 rushing touchdowns, 747 yards. But whenever you look at the passing statistics, he's the 4th best in the league in QBR. But outside of that, it's top 10, top 12, top 14 in pretty much every other passing statistic, which he's been great. He's been phenomenal. But if you're going to miss those last 3 games and you're not traditionally the type of player that the voters like to give these awards to, which is stupid, I think it's going to be difficult for him to pull that off. He didn't throw 40 touchdowns before he got injured.
Yeah, that's a great point, Simon. I agree with you. And I think just recency bias is going to really affect this. Just the most recent string of events and that's fresh in people's mind. FanDuel Sportsbook currently still has Jalen Hurts as the second favorite here, second most favorite. Patrick Mahomes at minus 350, Jalen Hurts plus 550, and then Josh Allen at plus 600.
I bet up until yesterday, Jalen Hurts was the favorite for that.
Yeah, most likely was.
Yeah. Patrick Mahomes, I mean, the thing is, I think Squirrel Bob makes the best point in the chat. Depends on what the other MVP candidates do. Because we've seen, it's kind of interesting. We've seen a few years that are just complete down years. And then we've seen some years where there are multiple quarterbacks that go nuts. And they would have won the MVP in pretty much any other year. But because of that year all coming together, they didn't win one. So it's like Patrick Mahomes right now, he's leading the league in yards. He's leading the league in touchdowns. If he just keeps being Patrick Mahomes, it's going to be hard not to give him that award. Example of a year when there were a bunch of guys. Dude, 2011, Matthew Stafford, in a 16-game season, threw for 5,000 yards and 41 touchdowns. He wasn't even a top 2 vote getter for the award because Drew Brees threw for 5,400 yards and 46 touchdowns. He wasn't the MVP because Aaron Rodgers, his team was so good that he didn't even need to play the last game, and he threw for 45 touchdowns and only 6 interceptions.
God,
So,
that's the worst, to be the guy who had an MVP season when someone else just did it better.
yeah,
Like the best season of your career is someone else's even better best season of their career.
exactly. Like people don't even remember that season for Stafford because of like how crazy those other ones were.
Even though his season was crazy. There are plenty of NFL seasons where we would have been talking about it.
Exactly. Like, and we don't even really think about it, dude. And you go back and you look at like the passing touchdown leader by year, like 40 touchdowns alone leads the league like all the time. Lamar Jackson led the league in 2019 with 36. 2017, Russell Wilson led the league with 34. 2015, Tom Brady led with 36. Like it happens all the time. And this year, just so happened that 3 dudes all threw 40. And one of them somehow threw 45 touchdowns and 6 interceptions, which is dumb.
Absurd. That's a stupid number.
Crazy, bro.
Absolutely ridiculous.
So could be anyone. It's anyone's game.
Could be beef.
Could be
Craig in
beef,
here
dude.
said, it always amazes me how much fans get invested in these awards, right?
I always pretend like I'm not Craig, but I super am. And
But I absolutely
very
am.
worked out. My one take on this that I'm most adamant about is we need a separate award for the best offensive lineman. Full stop. We need an award for that player because if Trent Williams comes out, has a year like he did last year, which was amazing, right? One of the best offensive lineman years ever, according to multiple different sources, Pro Football Focus, Walter Football, you name it. Everyone's like, this guy's having the best year any guy's ever had. Not only did he not win MVP, he didn't even win Offensive Player of the Year. So if that dude isn't capable of getting that award in that situation, we need an award for these guys. And if you're a kid that plays Pop Warner football, think about more than half the kids play line. You're basically telling all these kids that they're not important. Dude, that is an important position. They should have an opportunity to win at least Offensive Player of the Year. If not, create an award, call it whatever you want. What offensive line? If you're going to create an award, what offensive lineman should the award be named after?
It's a good question.
There's some great names out there.
Lane Johnson Award.
The Lane Johnson Award would be nice.
Joe Thomas.
Joe Thomas. That's a good one too. That would be great for Joe Thomas because like he's that dude that was so good his whole career and his team was so bad.
No recognition. He never won a Super Bowl. I don't even think he ever won a playoff game in his career.
You want to hear my favorite sad Joe Thomas stat?
Yes.
Joe Thomas in his entire career, his team never won week 1. Every single season that guy played, the season started with the team losing. He never won. He never won
had a
week
good
1.
start to a season.
Never won week 1, bro. They lost week 1 every time he played, bro.
Yikes.
The Nate Newton Award. I could think of a few.
Ooh,
Anthony Munoz was great. Orlando Pace could be cool.
Yeah, but what if they just call
Tommy?
it,
Look at Tommy in the chat. Me and Tommy got the mind meld, dude. Anthony Munoz would be. I think that would be a really good one.
I think they should call it the Envil, the most valuable offensive lineman, and then just you have to say Envil though every time.
Every single time.
Tommy says the Hog Award. That actually would. This is the one time that is actually kind of applicable, and they would love that, dude. The Hog Award, dude. You're just the number one hog.
Number one hog. Did you guys see JJ Watt tweeted out? He thinks he's been randomly drug tested after every single 3-sack game he's ever had.
Classic, dude.
Classic NFL. No
That
fun.
is-
I swear they
You
do
guys-
that though, right?
I was gonna say, do you guys believe that? Because we see it every year, multiple players coming out like after a big game, then they get tested. Do you guys believe that it is random, or do you believe like are you with these players that there's something sketchy about the way they're selecting players for random drug tests?
I kind of buy it a little bit. That they say, you know what something's going on over there.
Something's happening. No way you can get 3 sacks.
Yeah, they just got to stop calling it random.
Just call
I
it
feel-
drug testing.
I feel like random is just there so that they can just say they can do it whenever they want.
Yeah, random. Maybe they don't mean random like in the selection process. They
But
mean
random when it happens.
exactly. But for you, like it's just we can do whatever we want.
Honestly, that makes a lot of sense, Simon.
Yeah, there was at my first big boy job. I was on the first day of work. Someone was telling me like we were running through all the contract stuff, and in the contract again it said like you can be randomly drug tested. But then the person who was talking to me, who worked at the company, said they never do it though. They said about 7 years ago they randomly drug tested, and the entire welding department got fired, and the entire factory had to shut down until they could rehire an entire new team. And since that moment, they have never drug tested at this job again. They just fired the whole welding department, got them out of there.
What you don't know won't hurt you.
NFL is going to get all their stars benched if they keep doing this.
True.
I feel vindicated for them every time they post those tweets, like the NFL players, and they're like, you got nothing on me. Like you can try to find me, but you got nothing on me, baby.
Nothing.
I see your average Joe in here asking for the weekly prayer for CMC. I'm with you, man. I need him to stay healthy. CMC
For your guillotine.
for my guillotine, almighty running back, hamstring father. Please keep CMC's hamstrings in one piece. Amen.
Amen. JL raising the roof, getting the Holy Ghost.
CMC.
It's like, have you guys seen the movie Superstar?
Is
With
that the
Mary
one?
Catherine Gallagher
Yeah.
No.
and Will Ferrell,
Mm-mm.
where they go to a Catholic high school and it's like musical themed. You should watch it if you haven't. But they sing
She
some
makes
good
out with a
songs.
tree, right?
She does make out with a tree and
Yeah,
a
I
stop
remember that
sign.
movie. I remember that movie.
Jolly
Yeah,
Rancher
Albert-
in here. Good morning, Jolly Rancher. Welcome in. And Dustin saying,
Morning,
"What's up,
Jolly Rancher.
fellas? What's up, Dustin?"
Gang,
What
the
up,
gang
Dustin?
is all here. I
Got
feel
Albert here. Say good
trickling
morning,
in.
everyone.
Albert.
Hello.
That's how I imagine Albert talks. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Because his name's Albert.
Yeah. 100%.
Hello,
Rod-
chaps.
Aaron Rodgers said maybe the most relatable thing I've ever heard him say yesterday, which wasn't a high bar to pass because generally what he says is just so disconnected from like the average person's reality. But he said, you dream of playing on Monday nights as a kid, but you want noon games now. It's past my bedtime. I'm ready to go home and go to sleep. Me too, man. Me too.
I
And I'm
feel
thinking
that.
the same thing about Monday Night Football. Like, man, I love Monday Night Football, but boy, sure would be better if this game would have been at noon today.
Yeah. Let's just have games
feel
every
that.
day, man. I've been saying it. Spread them out. When you had those COVID Tuesday games, that was nice.
Those are great.
Besides the pandemic part, that part was not cool.
But we'll get some. No, and college football's over, so you don't get your Tuesday night action anymore either. We are gonna have to figure out what to do on Tuesday nights now, Coop. Oh God. Do you have any suggestions?
Waivers.
I think we should play Pokemon.
Okay, you convinced me. We figured it out.
Yeah. Nailed it. Did you guys see Sammy Watkins was released from the Packers yesterday?
Timing's so weird on that, where on the day of the game, you had all this time to potentially move on from that guy, and then game day. It always makes me wonder if maybe something happened where there's some sort of issue or disagreement, or maybe he missed a meeting and they were just like, you know what, man, this isn't working out, right? Because it always seems so strange to do that on the day of the game. You just make him inactive, right?
Right.
So I always wonder if there's a little something there.
Who was the player? Sorry, I missed that.
Sammy Watkins was released prior to the game.
Bizarre. It does seem like there has to be something else going on.
You think he gets picked up by another team?
Nah, dude.
Probably
I think
not.
the Sammy Watkins experience is, I mean, maybe. So we've seen it with a few teams now where like the Bills are like, okay, you know what? We're gearing up for the playoffs. We know there could be injuries, so we're gonna sign some familiar faces just so we have depth, right? They signed John Smokey Brown, like if in case Gabriel Davis goes down, now they have a guy that can play flanker, play on the outside. They signed Cole Beasley, right? And he actually played a little bit this week. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe the Chiefs said, hey, you know what? Let's get some depth. We got a guy who knows the plays here. He can block pretty well. Like, Justin Watson's kind of playing his role as the split wide receiver that just blocks. So maybe you bring him and, give him a little contract and say, hey, you know what? Just in case of emergency, we're going to have you around. That would be the one team I think might consider signing Sammy Watkins. I don't think any other team is coming out. Or maybe your Ravens, JL. What was the Sammy Watkins experience like while he was there?
Borderline nothing. I don't know. We barely saw him.
It was like a LaCroix. There was just a hint of Sammy Watkins on
just
it.
A hint of Sammy. That's exactly what it feels like. It feels exactly like a seltzer water.
Those would be the teams, like the teams where he already knows the playbook, and you just say, "Come on, Sammy, why not?"
Yeah, why not? We got room.
Craig dangling some bait in front of us. JL said another overrated Clemson wide receiver. You hate to see it.
We're just gonna catcall that bait out of there.
I was gonna say you're gonna dive in on that bait.
Nah.
You're gonna bite.
Mods.
Nah, because it's the Bills' fault.
Mods,
blame
remove
the
him.
Bills.
Remove Craig from the chat, please. Thank you.
He is a mod. Oh no.
Yeah. Oh, what are you? Who moderates the mods?
The mod. Oh wow!
The mod.
I was gonna try to say something there. I got stuck.
Let me say what you were about to say. The mod father.
The mod father.
That
is
not
what I was about to say, but that is so much better than what I was about to say.
Nailed
you just got to pretend you were going to say that, dude.
That's what I was going to say.
Can't follow that one up.
Yeah, you got the mod father has to come in and clean things up, dude. Make you an offer that you can't refuse.
I saw a pretty relevant, juicy rumor on Reddit, guys. According to Zach Kiefer of The Athletic, multiple league sources are convinced that Colts owner Jim Irsay has Michigan coach Jim Harbaugh at the top of his wish list to become the team's next head coach. Oh, Cleats and Jocksburg.
Bring him on in, dude. Bring him on in. Now, I will say
that is the least surprising thing I've ever heard.
Jim Harbaugh.
Our policy on this show, obviously and naturally, is to believe all rumors until they've been proven false. So, of course, this rumor we believe to be true until someone definitive, until Jim Irsay comes out and says, "I never said that," which happens all the time. The burden of proof is on you to prove all rumors wrong. with this show.
I don't know. I saw it on Reddit.
Nick Foles is now the QB of the Colts. So
dude, this is NFL. The Reddit is just like poking the bear, like forcing the Colts to issue statements. Hey, by the way, Nick Foles is not our quarterback, and we're not trying to bring Jim Harbaugh in. Like, we're just forcing their hand with rumors. What other rumors can we drum up over there to get to force the Colts to come out and address them? But yeah, I mean, it would be a great get for them, but Jim Harbaugh is such a homer Michigan man, and the things I've heard him talk about with that program and what he's building there, and how in college football it takes time to build these things, So I don't know. I feel like he's locked in, man. What do you guys think? Do you think? I think at some point he can come back to the NFL, but I don't know why right now. The program is so good right now, right? There's so much money.
There's the opposite side of the same exact argument you're making, Coop, where he's reaching maybe the peak of what he can do at Michigan, right? Like the last thing remaining is that national title. He's beaten Ohio State now. He's got that in his bag. He's made the playoff. He's got that in his bag. Winning Big Ten championships. He's got that in his bag. But he did have some bad years there as well leading up to this. Like you mentioned, it takes time to build up. There could be that fear, but I don't know if Jim Harbaugh feels fear. I think maybe he just feels khakis instead of fear. Like he just puts on another pair of khakis and goes about his business. When he's scared, he just wears 2 pairs of pants. But there is the narrative of maybe like he goes out on top at Michigan to come over to the NFL.
Right.
I mean, he kind of went out on top with the 49ers too, a little bit. Like he was good with the 49ers, and they still like him. The fans still basically say like Shanahan's the best coach since Harbaugh.
Yeah.
I don't know. But when you said, and I've said it on the show before, but when you said it takes time to set those things up, that always reminds me of my favorite Harbaugh quote. which is when they asked him about how the program wasn't good when he first got there. And he said, you can't expect to plant potatoes today and eat potato salad tomorrow. That was his response. That's still my favorite Harbaugh quote.
That is a beauty, man. We should have saved that for quoting McQuoteface.
Quote, yeah, you can't expect to plant potatoes today and eat potato salad tomorrow. That's how he explains away that his football team wasn't good.
Him acting like you can't just run up to Kroger and buy some potato salad. Like the vast majority of people who eat potato salad have never grown a potato in their life, Mr. Harbaugh.
That's what
you
the
can
NIL
very
program.
much so. Yeah, you can plant potatoes today and eat potato salad tomorrow. Wait till I show you modern grocery stores.
That's what the Rams did going to get Matt Stafford. Like, they were just like, yeah, we can. We're gonna have potato salad. We're gonna have potato salad right now. I don't care if it costs $100. They paid $100 for it, but they got it.
I like to imagine that Jim Harbaugh is still a hunter and gatherer. Like he doesn't go to grocery stores. He just goes out and gathers and hunts all of his food.
Just
see it. Just in his cleats.
With eye black on.
Exactly. No weapons either. He's like out there like looking for wild hogs and just like tackling them in the woods in his jock strap with his cleats on and eye black.
Bare hands.
Yep. The D Nice in the chat. Poor baby Hurts is out. Hell yeah, go Vikings. Well, now we don't cheer for injury, but that being said, I do have put in I liked the Vikings this offseason, so I put in a couple bets. $100 to win 280 that they win the division. That's looking good. I also put down $100 to win $1,800 that they go to the Super Bowl. So if the Vikings go to the Super Bowl, I'm gonna be one happy lad.
Yeah, but on that point, yeah, man, yeah, you can be happy for the Vikings without cheering against a player's injury.
Exactly.
And Jalen Hurts is killing it this year. Your average Joe, and you're saying, I've never gone hunting. How about y'all? I have also never been hunting, unless you count the time my friend's dad loaded up this high-powered potato cannon and chased wolves with us.
Chase wolves with us?
There were wolves, and my friend's
joined
drunk
the
uncle.
hunt.
My friend's drunk uncle was like, "Come with me," and he loaded up this massive potato gun and was like, "Let's go find these wolves," because they were on his property. And we ran out there, and he shot a high-powered potato gun at some wolves. But that's the closest thing to hunting I've ever gone.
I don't think, dude, killing a wolf with a potato is going to be messy.
It was to scare them. It was to scare them. It was not going to kill a wolf.
That's going to be
wolf first potato. I don't care how fast the potato's going. The wolf wins.
Wolf just turns around, just destroys you.
I would actually, if he connected just an absolute headshot with that, I would be traumatized. I'd be very upset.
We got Eddie in here asking better replacement for Hurts. Watson, who's on his bench, Purdy, Minshew, or Mills. So replacement for Hurts if Hurts doesn't play, which we are assuming at least this week, probably less likely. What do you guys think?
Purdy, Minshew, or Mills, dude.
Or Watson on the bench.
Probably Watson then, dude. I'm not going to start Minshew.
Who do the 49ers play?
I'm not going to start Davis Mills.
It's Brock Purdy or Deshaun Watson, which is a weird thing to be saying. But Brock Purdy's been playing all right in his starts. I've got slightly more confidence in him if you just show me the last 2 weeks. Right now, we can look at more than the last 2 weeks. We know what Deshaun Watson is capable of. So the 49ers have the Commanders. Not a easy matchup, but not one that's scaring me off. I think I'll roll Purdy out there.
Yeah, and then the rest of the season schedule for 49ers is fantastic. Washington, as Simon just said, and then Las Vegas Raiders, and then Arizona Cardinals, which are both easy matchups. So I'm with that Purdy call, Simon. I think Purdy or Deshaun Watson, you're probably not going to be able to go wrong.
Yeah, and this question, man, like the underdog teams where I drafted Deshaun Watson, and I thought, I'm like, if I make it to the playoffs, I'm going to be getting away with something here. I'm going to be living like a king. Like pretty much all my underdog teams that had Deshaun Watson. So a good number of them made the playoffs, and they're now out because he's not good. So that didn't quite work out the way we thought it would, did it, boys?
Whoopsie poopsie.
No, it did not. D-Nice saying, I play Hurts this week, and I really can't complain. Not gonna lie, whenever you're in like a real high stakes matchup, and like one of your opponents like players can't play that week, it's exhilarating. It's like, yes.
You're not cheering for the injury, but you're looking at the matchup, just the numbers. The numbers, you're like, this makes my numbers better. This is a bad thing that happened to him, and now my chance of winning this game is better. Yeah.
The trick is to not mention the player's name, be like, baby hurts. You just say, Eagles suck, go Vikings. And then when people say, well, Jalen Hurts is out, then you just say, okay, they still suck, dude, because they, you know what I mean?
Still suck.
Okay, yeah. And they're like, Jalen Hurts isn't playing, and they just be like, yeah, that's what I said. The Eagles suck. They're Gardner Minshew's their quarterback. You know, you can get around it. You can sneak around it. D nice is what I'm saying. You tiptoe around that injury without saying, I'm glad he's hurt.
Absolutely, guys. Coming up, we've got a Monday Night Football game that happened last night that we're going to talk about. And then it's time for Fact or Fiction. We're going to run through a bunch of players that blew up this weekend. Fact or Flash, and discuss whether we think that is a flash in the pan or if you can count on that going forward in these fantasy football playoffs. We're bringing back a game that we started last week, vague descriptions. I'm excited for that one. I love some vague descriptions that we're going to help you out with your waiver wire targets a little bit later today as well. But right now you're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
The only person, I've said this to you before, who I believe back then, of all those power hitters who truly was clean, Ken Griffey Jr.
I mean, I think so when he got hurt.
Body didn't change.
We'll never know that for sure either.
No, dude.
We've seen guys who were not big take substances.
That's true.
To get busted. So it's not about that always.
I hear you. It's just, don't you think with the way his career kind of went, you would think that he didn't take anything?
I don't think he did, but we'll never know 100%.
I'm going to keep telling myself that he didn't. The 1 year player, I mean, he's my favorite baseball player of all time. In the 1990s, Ron, as a kid, as a 5-year-old kid who plays video games and collected cards, there was no one cooler than Ken Griffey Jr. I still wear my hat backwards because Ken Griffey Jr. did it and he looked really cool doing that, wearing a backwards baseball cap. Like, he made everything the guy did looked cool. Even the home run in the movie Little Big League, it's acting, it's all, I guess, fake, but even he made that look cool. I mean, Ken Griffey Jr., you're a little bit older than me, but in the 90s, was there besides Michael Jordan, was there a more loved athlete than Ken Griffey Jr.?
Yeah, no, I love Griffey. He's one of my favorite players ever, from defensively to hitting his swing. And yeah, I would have loved to see what he could have done if he had stayed healthy, the final numbers he finished with. So no, I was a huge fan of Ken Griffey. And it's a shame, though, that all those injuries towards the end of his career just really limited the production he put up, but he still put up elite numbers. He was so fun to watch. So I'm a huge Ken Griffey guy.
And here's the other thing, too. So 1994, the season got shortened because of the strike.
And he finished with 40 homers in 111 games that year, man. And then he had 56 2 years in a row, 97 and 98, and then 48. He had a stretch 4 years in a row, 49, 56, 56, 48, 40. I mean, unbelievable. And then, yeah, once he hit like 31, he started to miss games, 111, 70, 53, 83. So think about that, all those years that he lost, and he still hit 630 home runs, man. Yeah. So if he was clean, he would have been the all-time home run champion. Again, we're all guessing here, but you would think, all right, well, once he got into age 31, 32, that's when the body started breaking out, which is typical, right, for someone who's not using anything, whereas we saw Barry Bonds just get better with age. And we did not see that with Griffey. So look at 2001, where he's 31, he played on, look at the home runs decline, 8, 13, 20, 35, 27, 30, 18, 15 to his age 38 season. Even age 39 in 170 games, he had 19 home runs. So he probably would have definitely been the all-time home run leader had he been able to stay healthy.
Better Sports Network. It's sports talk done better.
Hey, welcome back in, everyone, to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. The Packers took care of business last night, beat the Rams 24-12. But before we break down that game, Will in the chat had a question for us, guys. Will said, I'm 1 win away from making my 3rd straight finals.
Wagon.
Shout out, Will. Nice job. Said anchored by Henry, Cook, Zeke, Waddle, Keenan, Dak, and Kirk. You got a solid squad. However, I need to stream a defense. Should I go with Denver or the Chargers? The Chargers are playing the Colts. The Denver Broncos have the Rams. John Luke, where would you be running with this one? Oh, we got the mime.
Colts or Rams?
No,
No.
Denver.
Yeah, those are who they're playing. I'm gonna go with the Chargers. I'll go with the Chargers against the Rams.
No, the Chargers are playing the Colts.
Good morning,
Well, you
Dale.
just confused me. He said Denver or Chargers, and you switched it up and went Colts, Rams. Okay. In that order, then I'll go Denver.
Yeah, I'm playing the Broncos. They've got the better defense and the better matchup. So I'm rolling them out there.
Yep. And oddly enough, the Chargers aren't even that big of favorites over the Colts. Like, you get 3 points playing at home, and the Colts are 3.5-point favorites. So at a neutral site, the game would be probably 6-point spread or whatever, but you'd think it'd be higher than that. Plus, the over under that game is pretty high. So for this Denver Rams one, it feels pretty safe. 35.5-point over under. That's the lowest of the year so far, right?
I mean, it's a battle of superstar quarterbacks, though, right? Russell Wilson versus Baker Mayfield, the matchup of the century.
Whoa, dude. Wow, wait a second. The lowest of the year. I'm looking at these lines. Dude, the Saints Browns over under is set at 31.5. Is that serious?
Really?
I swear. I'm looking at scores.com right now, dude.
There must be weather or something.
Oh, yeah,
right?
no, 31.5. You're absolutely right. FanDuel Sportsbook.
What?
There's got to be an additional factor in that, right? Like, there has to be like some weather aspect to it that's causing it to be that wildly low.
Talk me out of placing an overbet right now. I'll do it.
Nick Chubb.
Ready? I got it, guys. Here's
Oh, wait, no, that's in favor of you making an overbet. Oh, shoot.
Are you guys ready for this, dude?
Yeah, I'm so ready.
Okay. It's supposed to be 10 degrees Fahrenheit and foggy, but the wind is projected to be 25 miles per hour.
That sounds about right. I figured there had to be something going on there.
So we have some data on this information, right? Anything 10 to 15 miles per hour. And a lot of times they suggest that the wind is much worse than the snow or the rain. Like, if the rain and snow are like really torrential, where it affects like visibility, or if you're playing on dirt, the grass fields, sometimes they get pretty choppy. But they said the wind is the biggest problem for these games, and anything 10 to 15 miles an hour or less doesn't really have a massive effect. 15 to 20 miles per hour, that starts. You have to actually factor it into your throws, factor it into your kicks. Anything over 20, it becomes incredibly difficult, because now you're talking about you got to be throwing sidewinders out there. You actually need to lead guys using the wind, and the wind can change at any moment in some of these games. I mean, every quarter you have to go a different direction. So, it's pretty ridiculous. So that is scary. 25-mile winds.
The Browns are good for one win game a year. Like we see one home windy game a year there in Cleveland. I'd be avoiding the receiving options in this game.
Yeah.
If that's what we're looking at.
There's rumors about bad weather across the East Coast and to a certain degree the mid-north, as we talked about yesterday with Montana. So
the Montana football team is going to be in trouble this weekend?
They aren't, but over in that direction, the Chicago Bears, looks like that game's going to have 18, 20-mile-an-hour winds. They're playing the Buffalo Bills. So that's another one where we're probably going to have to look at that. The over-under for that game, despite it being the Bills and Bears, who are competent enough, 40-point over-under. So there are a few games here where you're going to have to keep an eye on the wind. Typically, I don't, because, forecasts are what they are. They change all the time. I wouldn't go crazy right now, but on Sunday morning, you'll have me and John and Pemba from 9 to 11 on the Playbook Morning Show. You guys will be on from 11 to 1. And we're going to have to update people on that, because if the winds are crazy, you got to get those guys out, right? We've seen it too many times. It's this time of year, you got to play the matchups, and you have to know what's going on with the weather conditions. 100%.
100%. We had another question in here from Healing Meditation. Healing Meditation want to know, playoffs on the line, who do you go with? Zach Moss, Jerick McKinnon, Raheem Mostert, or Zonovan Knight? Coop, which one of those 4 running backs are you going with? Zach Moss, Jerick McKinnon, Raheem Mostert, or Zonovan Knight?
Jerick McKinnon, Raheem Mostert, or Donovan Knight. I mean, the way things are going right now, if Jeff Wilson's out, I'm definitely going to start Raheem Mostert. He looked really good this week against a tough Bills defense. So keep an eye on Jeff Wilson with the hip.
Going against the Packers, home game.
Yeah, I think I would start Raheem Mostert of that crew. Otherwise, I mean, Jerick McKinnon's looks so good. I have a hard time starting Zach Moss because you don't know if they're going to scheme up stuff for Deion Jackson. You know what I mean? Like the first game when somebody goes down, they just kind of sometimes just roll with it. And then the next game they come out and you don't know what that's going to look like. So I think I trust Raheem Mostert the most out of that crew. What do you think, JL? He looks
I think
awesome.
I might leave McKinnon here. I don't mind the Mostert pick, and you're right. If Jeff Wilson's not playing, he gives McKinnon a run for his money because he'll be the main guy in that Miami backfield. McKinnon will still be sharing carries with Isaiah Pacheco, so I don't hate that call at all, Coop. Kansas City Chiefs are playing the Seattle Seahawks.
Good
Makes
matchup.
makes me want to kind of play McKinnon.
McKinnon's look great, man. Like after watching him, it makes sense they give him so many opportunities. So they're both good plays. So I would take a look at it, see what's going on with Jeff Wilson. You know what I mean, and make a call from there. But that one you might have to wait till a little later in the week to decide on.
Absolutely. CFC in here with another question for us. It's a tight end question. Said I'm in the finals with Higbee as my starting tight end. Do I go and pick someone up off the waiver wire like Juwan Johnson? Would you rather start Juwan Johnson over Tyler Higbee?
Yeah, so I'm waiting for the numbers on Higbee from this week. Here's the problem that we've had with Higbee the last few weeks, besides the fact that he's not very good at football, is that he's been pass blocking. They've been asking him to stay in and pass block. So early in the year, like the first week of the season, he ran 47 routes, didn't pass block one time. The last few weeks, he played on so week 12, he played on 16 pass plays. He blocked on 5 of them. So he only ran 11 routes in that game. The next game, he blocked on 9 pass plays. The game after that, he blocked on 10. We don't have the numbers yet from yesterday, but if he once again, like the fact that you had Higbee in your lineup and you're in the play and you've made it this far is kind of amazing. But if he blocked once again on 15 to 20% or more of his pass plays, you have to start somebody else. So I would look to Juwan Johnson. And if you want, send me a screenshot of waivers at Coop A Fiasco, COOPAFIASCO on Twitter. Either DM me or just tag me, and I'll take a look and let you know what I would do in my leagues. But I really don't trust Tyler Higbee.
Also, send them pictures of your feet.
Send me pictures of your feet, dude. Well, that way I can forward them to Keith. He did request them. Or you can send them directly to Keith if you want on Twitter. He's at Keith. What is it? Keith Scope.
Yep,
That's Keith Scope. KEITHCOPE. Pictures.
Spell other
pictures
things for us. Spell.
So I did
erroneous.
ERRONEOUS.
Nice.
Is that correct?
Dude.
That's correct,
dude. It's not even
Really?
a hard one.
I would have gotten that so wrong.
Do you guys have some words? There's certain words that I have trouble spelling.
There's a whole category of words I have trouble spelling, and it is words where some of the consonants in the middle are double and some of them are not. So business, the country of the Philippines, Cincinnati, like all of these words I just can't quite figure out.
Yeah, Cincinnati, dude. Cincinnati's a tough one. I autocorrect.
Buccaneers is impossible as well.
Like
absolutely
I can't,
impossible.
I can't get it. If some of the consonants are double and some of the consonants are not, I'm gonna mess it up every single time without fail.
Yeah, Heath Cummings and I will constantly remiss on Twitter about how Buccaneers is impossible to spell. So we always say Bucks.
Bucks. Yep. Smart.
Gotta go Bucks. We had a question here from James asking Walker or Dobbins. I think it's got to be Dobbins. So I know Kenneth Walker has been decent, but Dobbins he's been good. They've just been giving him the bulk of the carries here. 15 carries, week 14, 13 carries, week 15. It's been great.
The Ravens have the Falcons, which is a beatable matchup on the ground. I'm with you, Jay. I'm rolling Dobbins out there. I liked what I've seen.
Brings me back to the college football argument. The Ravens are like the college football squad right now. Like, how do you have a guy running for 9 yards a carry and you lose, dude? Like, isn't that? And correct me if I'm wrong.
Because we can't throw.
Correct me if I'm wrong. But don't you just give that guy the ball twice and that's a first down? It's like 9 yards a carry. He ran for 8 yards a carry his first game back, 9 yards a carry this past game, and they lost 13-3. Just keep giving that guy the ball over and over and over.
Would you rather have a guy that has a 50% chance of a 10-yard run? Okay. So every time they touch the ball, there's a 50% chance of a 10-yard run, or a 100% chance of a 2-yard run every time he touches the ball. Which one would you rather have on your team?
Well, the guy with the 100%. I would rather have the guy with the. I would rather have the 2-yard run guy.
The 2-yard run. See, because like in my mind, immediately I was thinking like, oh, like I take the 10-yard guy, but how valuable would it be to have the guy who could just get you 2 yards guaranteed?
If there's a pass interference in the end zone, it's a touchdown every time, right? If there's because they put the ball at the 2-yard line on those. Where's the 2-point conversion from? Is that from the 2-yard line? Or is it 3-yard line?
I think I take the other side.
You take the other side, JL?
How many yards per probability?
In professional, the 2-point conversions are
50%.
No, 2-point conversions, JL. 2-point conversions from the 2-yard line, bro. So
I'm just wondering the
2-point conversion every time. Every time.
I'm not thinking about 2-point conversion. I'm just thinking of the normal play. And I think if you got 4 downs, chances are pretty good that you're going to get that 10 yards.
Well, let me ask this.
Point. That's
Can
a
I
great
clarify?
Point,
Can I clarify on the other guy?
Maybe.
Go ahead.
Okay. So we're talking exactly 10 yards or 10 plus yards?
Exactly 10. Just like the other one is exactly 2.
And then the other occasions, it's less than 10. So sometimes it's 9, sometimes it's 8.
It's 0. It's 0 or 10.
Yeah. Well, then, dude, that's just a guy that averages 5 yards a carry. Those guys are all over the place. Miles Sanders averaged 5 yards a carry. J.K. Dobbins is averaging like 15. He's averaging 10.5 yards a carry already. J.K. Dobbins is already better than that player. Give me that.
But just less extreme. He's not min-maxed though. He's just got normal stats.
Give me that 2-yard hammer. We're going for 2 every time. We're going for 2 every time, bro. Every time.
You've been watching Bill Belichick for a lot of years. When you see a guy who's going to guarantee you 2 yards, and you're like, "That's my man. That's my dude."
Bill Belichick would sign that dude to a 50-year contract, and he'd be like, "You just play as long as you feel like it."
Craig said, "Oh, now he clarifies." I guess I skipped a clarification question from Craig on that front.
Craig goes, he could get you -20 on the other 50%. That's a risk, dude. That's the old Kyler Murray.
That's a big risk.
Zahn here had a question for us. What's up, Zah? Said, yo, Jalen Hurts, pick up Lawrence, Danny Dimes or Purdy, Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is on fire.
Why is he so good?
It's the arms and legs and torso, probably the combination of all of them. And
the hair is a big part. It's mostly probably the hair. Danny Dimes is the most fraudulent, okay fantasy football quarterback of all time, dude. He just goes out and has a terrible game and then scores like a ugly rushing touchdown. And you're just like, I guess this guy is viable. He's a back-end QB1. He's QB11, Daniel Jones. Get out of my face with that. Why does he have 5 rushing touchdowns?
Tell us how you really feel, Coop. Yeah, he's no Sam Darnold. Who does he think he is with all those rushing touchdowns?
Yes, he's a QB1. He has 12 passing TDs. Go away.
Stop it.
Stop.
I'm trying to help you out, Coop. I don't feel as strongly about Daniel Jones, but I'll fight for your cause.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Daniel Jones stinks, dude. These are Daniel Jones's touchdown totals the last 3 years. 11, 10. And this year he has 12. So on pace for one of his best years. Loser.
On pace for his best years, loser. I hear that's what they say about you, Coop.
Yeah, on pace for one of my best years, but still a loser. I'll take it. It's still a loser, but having a good go around
for you.
Good go around.
I say the same thing about me.
2023 is going to be my year. Don't worry about
it. I feel it.
Craig also came in here a bit earlier, guys, and saying, as a serious note, the 3 points for being at home is by and large gone from books these days. Most teams do not have enough of a home field to warrant it anymore, and it has been reduced by most books. I think we were talking about that in regards to the Colts-Chargers game, right? We were talking about that 3-point favorite there, but that is interesting because that's just been assumed for a long time, right? Give the home team 3 points, but it makes sense. The world is shrinking. It's a hell of a lot easier to get places than it was. And there's plenty of NFL teams that we see it in their stadium that there really isn't a home field advantage. Shout out LA.
Shout out LA.
There's no home field advantage for those LA teams most of the time.
There were a lot of
Chargers.
A lot of Pats fans at that Raiders game in Vegas this week, I will say. Very sad and disappointed Pats fans, but they were all there.
Absolutely. Yeah, Tommy in the chat was agreeing, saying 2 yards guaranteed. Christian Okoye is where he's going right there, taking the 2 yards.
Christian Okoye. Do you guys remember him?
No, I do not.
He had one.
I'm going to be honest. My NFL history is so bad. Like before 2015, I am so bad at remembering NFL stuff. And if he was after 2015, then that's besides the point of what I just said.
Oh yeah, he was a while back. He played for the Chiefs. He was this guy from Africa, and his nickname was the Nigerian Nightmare.
That's like a just badass name.
Yeah, Nigerian American guy, the Nigerian Nightmare. And he played for the Chiefs, and he was just this battering ram. Like he was like a fullback, running back hybrid that, you know, like Tommy says, 2 yards guaranteed. Like if you go back and look at this guy, he was just like a Hulk. He looks like guards looking out, just monster,
absolute monster, guys. As we're heading into week 16, the semifinals of these playoffs, there are a lot of players last week in week 15 that blew up, had themselves some good games. It's time for us to get into our next segment called Fact or Flash. We are going to determine whether or not these players are a fact or if it was a flash in the pan. First up, we're going to talk about Atlanta Falcons running back Tyler Allgeier. 17 rushes, 139 yards, and 1 touchdown. Looks like he's taken over as the lead back in this backfield. Coop, is this fact or flash? Are you trusting Tyler Allgeier in your fantasy lineups?
So I'm going to say fact on Tyler Allgeier. And a big reason that I'm going to say fact here is that there are some underlying stats for Tyler Allgeier that suggest that he is legitimately one of the better running backs outside of offensive line play. So Next Gen Stats actually sent something out on that. Tyler Allgeier recorded 76.5% success rate in week 15, highest by any RB in any game this season. And Allgeier leads all rookies with plus 136 rushing yards over expected this season. And he also ranks 7th in that category among all the running backs. Basically what that rushing yards over expected means is essentially with like an independently blocked play, like a league average block play, he's gaining more yards than the normal person were. So if some guys are getting stuffed in the backfield routinely or aren't breaking tackles, they would have a negative number for that. He's creating for himself by breaking tackles, by, you know, finding gaps, by using his vision. So Tyler Allgeier, he's starting to seem like a guy that's going to have some success in this league. And when they get a better offensive line, that's when it's wheels up. You look at guys that were high in this stat in the past, like Joe Mixon before they had a good line. Todd Gurley is one of the biggest examples. Go back and look at Todd Gurley's stats, right? Todd Gurley in 2016 had 278 carries. Remember that number, 278 for 885 yards and 6 touchdowns. But the Rams that year were dead last in the league in yards before contact. Even though Todd Gurley was good in a lot of the yards after contact, they were dead last in yards before contact. The next year they go out, they get guys like Andrew Whitworth, they revamp the team. He had, did you remember the number of carries from before that I told you to remember?
278.
JL, you're an angel. Simon, you are in trouble.
I just didn't talk as fast.
278 had 278 carries, had 885 yards. The next year, he had 279 carries, had 1,305. Legit. Or 400 more yards just because he was the same guy. He didn't change himself. His stats in terms of yards after contact were very similar. They just were better offense, better team, and boom, wheels up. So you want to find guys like that for your dynasty team, because if they're creating for themselves and then the team actually goes and gets the lineman, that's when you get the breakouts. So Tyler Allgeier, that was probably the longest factor flash segment that I've done but that is just my long and windy way of saying I think Tyler Allgeier is a fact.
I'm just amazed at how long of a run that 279th carry was.
Yeah, it was 4.
That's long.
Yeah, he was exactly at 885. Just one monster.
Just
It
one
was-
more carry after that.
It was actually the first carry that year, and then after that, he just had a very similar year.
he had a 400-yard carry on his first carry of the season, and then just plodding along the rest of the way. Yeah. I see Scott Fish in the chat saying, I think what this says, re Tyler Allgeier, and with Darren Waller scoring, and with AJ Dillon scoring twice, it really just says guys that he's playing in leagues with are crushing. Not
That's
him,
it.
but guys he's playing in leagues
That's
with.
it. Scott Fish comes in with the name
That
drop.
Scott Fish bump, dude. Yo, when is Dez coming back? That's the real question. Now that he's got that Scott Fish alliance going, it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time.
Scott Fish is like the opposite of the Madden curse. Like you get in a league with Scott Fish and you're just guaranteed fantasy success.
NFL players are just clawing to be in a league with Scott Fish.
His email inbox is just full of people who like kind of disappointed this year, reaching out to him. Like next year he's gonna be playing in leagues with I hate to pick two injured players, but they were injured before and they were two of the most disappointing. Kyle Pitts and Darnell Mooney were the two that come to mind. They got to have that bounce back year.
Got to get in,
Scott,
dude. Got to be back.
Scott, let's get you in a league with Darnell Mooney and Kyle Pitts next year.
Please.
Please. Dale, Tyler Allgeier, Factor Flash. You agreeing with Coop here?
I'm gonna agree with Coop. To be honest, I didn't really listen to Coop, but I'm gonna agree with him anyway.
A lucky guess of that number then.
Did a lot of talking. Yeah.
He said, remember this. And I was like, all right, you got it.
You remember that one part?
No, the carries last 3 weeks, we saw 11 carries, 10 carries, 17 carries for Tyler Allgeier. It's decent enough. I guess I don't see this as a fact that he's going to score 22.6 points, fantasy points every week.
Nope,
I think
that's
this
what
was
I said.
I think this was a good game. He got the touchdown, which definitely boosted his numbers. So I'll give it a little flash.
I think it's a fact. You can start Tyler Allgeier, and it'll probably feel good to start Tyler Allgeier in your next two matchups. The problem with him, though, is that this offense is bad. It caps his upside. The offense is bad. It's going to limit his scoring opportunities. So there's
It'll feel good. And then he'll get
limited
you 6
upside.
points.
But you're fine with it. You're fine with starting Tyler Allgeier. I think
With
he's
6
talented.
points? 5.2 points, 5.4 points.
I mean, you're not
3.3
going to be
points.
happy with that.
Yeah, that's his game loss since week 10.
Those were the days of old.
The days of old, yes.
These are the
Turned
days
a new
of
loof.
new. A new
Since
loof?
A new loof.
Got a
We've
new
turned
loof.
over a new loofah.
He got a new loofah. He's feeling a lot cleaner now. He got ate a new loaf of bread, totally different one than usual. He's less carbs, so I think he's feeling a little lighter on his feet.
Can I ask you guys a question?
New loaves.
It was a
Please.
debate that came up yesterday. If someone brought you a full thing of bread this sized, is that still a loaf of bread? Is it just a small loaf? Like, does the size define whether or not it is a loaf? Or would that just be a small loaf of bread? Like, it's got the
Small
shape.
loaf.
It's a,
Well,
you
so
think it's
okay.
just- I'm with
is
you,
a-
Dale. I said it's still a loaf. Like, that would just be a small loaf of bread.
Did
But
you
I was
slice
so
that?
so
No.
you got so
Not
if you slice a croissant, like is a croissant a loaf of bread?
No, croissant's a pastry.
Okay. Well,
if you slice a cucumber, is a cucumber a loaf of bread?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Well, what's the
think
difference
it's
between
not
a
a
how,
size
Good
what's,
question. Good question.
what's the difference between a pastry and a like when is a pastry separate from a loaf of bread?
In the way that it is, as you see, because one is the way it does, and the other is the way it is, and it's something with the ingredients and then the
Is a
science
slice of
behind
pizza
it
a whole
rising.
pizza?
Mm.
Depends. No,
Is a personal pizza a slice or a whole pizza?
it's a whole pizza.
There you go.
I think a small, yeah.
There you go. Checkmate, atheists. Lawyered right there. There's your loaf logic right there.
Loaf logic.
How wide does it have to be to not be a breadstick? Is probably
Okay, now that is a great point.
That's-
That's the best
that's
point
right.
you've brought up so far. At what point does it transition from breadstick to loaf?
Or sub roll.
it's a width. I think that's a width question.
Ooh, or a sub roll. Yeah.
I think we have a bracket idea here.
Like, because now I'm thinking of like a ciabatta bun. Like, is that a loaf of ciabatta or is that just a ciabatta bun? Ciabatta roll? It's a roll. Oh my God. Is a small loaf of bread just a roll?
That's just a roll.
20
bro.
minutes on Tyler Allgeier, 20 minutes on loaves of bread.
That's the answer, bro. It's
Tim
just
here.
a roll.
Tim was part of this conversation yesterday, and he said, "What about meatloaf?" That's bread
How
for sure,
how small of a meatloaf do you have to for it to be a meat roll?
or to be a meatball,
Or
Does
a
it have to
meat
be
croissant.
round?
Oh, a meat stick.
I mean, something different.
On that
a
note,
meat bonk.
let's hit our next Factor Flash player, and this is another running back, Denver Broncos running back Latavius Murray, 24 rushes, 130 rushing yards, 1 touchdown. John Luke, Factor Flash for Latavius Murray.
Latavius Murray, that's a cold hard fact right there. Latavius Murray, man, as Coop alluded to earlier in the show, he's getting those carries. Last week was an anomaly against the Chiefs. I think that had more to do with game script than anything else. Otherwise, he's been in the mid-teens for attempts each week. It's very solid, very solid. They got the Rams coming up. We'll see if Aaron Donald is healthy, and then the Chiefs again. So maybe you don't want to play in Week 17, but otherwise, good.
Is it wheels up for Latavius Murray? Fact, or are you going with Flash here?
Kind of band wheels up for him. I mean, in terms of usage, right? Like he's getting pretty much all the work. Double-digit carries in 4 out of his last 5 games. You could do a lot worse than Latavius Murray, man. They like him. So I'm saying fact.
Yeah, it's fact for me as well. When a running back's getting that amount of work, I don't care what offense he's on. He's startable. He's startable. It would be nice if this was a competent offense, though, but it doesn't look like we're going to get that this year. Tommy in the chat with a new definition of breadstick saying, if I can cram the whole thing in my mouth, it is a breadstick. I think maybe you need at least one more qualifier on there. Like,
Yeah, I don't know that that's the only thing. Like, is a Lego a breadstick?
I'm starting to think the more that
Is
I think
a Wii
about
remote a breadstick?
Just imagine Tommy just trying to stuff a Wii remote down his mouth.
let's just let's spend the rest of the day playing is this a breadstick or not? Is this a loaf
I like
or
that.
not?
FYF game. Is this a loaf? Loaf or no loaf?
Okay, so the more
Loafing
thinking-
around.
the more I'm thinking about this, which is quite a bit, like the entirety of when JL was talking about Latavius Murray, I'm starting to think that loaf is like a loaf of bread is like a rectangle, and then you have different labels that are the squares, right? So a square is a rectangle, but a rectangle is not a square. Where you look at it and it's like you got baguettes, you have, you have
baguettes.
holes. I mean, I'm looking at this list. The thing is, I'm
sourdough.
looking at
You got
braided.
rye.
You have rings. You have all these different things. You have breadsticks. You have croissants. You got all these different types of bread loaves, right? Where they're all loaves of bread.
Tim in here with the official definition of a loaf, saying a loaf is a usually rounded or oblong mass of food, typically and originally of bread.
See, I don't like that usually in parentheses.
It takes away everything. It takes away
it's like,
any
well,
clarity
now
from us.
you're not sure at all.
So you could technically have like a loaf. Like, what if you took a bunch of pickles and just like smashed them up and together? Like, would that be a loaf of pickles?
Be a pickle loaf, potentially, similar to how there's like a meatloaf.
That's what I'm saying.
That's disgusting what you just said out loud. Just
What other kind
vile.
of what other kind
I
of
love
foods?
pickles.
What other kind of
Whoa.
foods can we loaf up, dude?
Meatballs.
We could loaf up. It's just meatloaf. Meatball
See?
loaf.
Nailed it.
I'm about to. I mean, I'm going to my sister's for
Sushi.
New Year's,
Sushi
and
loaf.
she's planning on doing like a 90s theme party. But I'm wondering if maybe we should have a loaf party now instead. Everyone just brings a different loaf of something, and people are probably going to pick loaf of bread and meatloaf early. So you're going to have to go with you're going to have to get creative.
You could go
Loafing,
with
bro.
a mayo loaf.
Mayo loaf. Oh.
Mayo loaf, dude.
That'd be
Simon,
a good-
is
Dustin,
Was that like slang around where you guys grew up? Like you're just loafing? Is that something you guys said like growing up?
I don't.
What are you
like-
doing? Not loafing.
we said loafing around, but not as like a thing. You know what I mean? That's not like a word where I think like that was a common phrase in the vernacular of where I grew up. But I've
It was
heard it
popular
before.
in the DMV.
The DMV, you guys are all about some loafing?
Some loafing. We be loafing all the time, bro.
Pimento loaf is a real thing, it seems. Dustin in the chat with the pimento loaf. What other foods can be chat? Anyone out there? What other foods can be loafed? I want to know. I want to know what foods are loafable.
Hey, chat, tell us about your loafs. We'd love to hear
loaf.
about them. Because the next player for Factor Flash is KJ Osborne, wide receiver for the Minnesota Vikings. He had 10 receptions for 157 yards and 1 touchdown. Coop, Factor Flash for KJ Osborne.
I'm sorry, dude.
Targets in this game. 16.
I'm sorry, but Trenton said macaroni loaf in the chat, and I am captivated. I just pulled up macaroni loaves, dude. They look amazing, bro. Amazing. But yeah, KJ Osborne, no chance. I'm sorry. No chance. I'm sorry, KJ Osborne. Think about first of all, think about what he's done up to this point, right? The last few games coming in. So in the crazy Buffalo game, he had 11 targets. Since then, he's had 3, 2, 3, 5 for 38 yards. And then this game, he has 16. He needs these absurd game scripts where Kirk Cousins digs a hole and then fights his way out. Those are the 2 good games he's had. You can't bank on that every week. And hell, you could come out and have a huge game next week versus the Giants, but then the game after that, he comes out and doesn't do that and you just lose. You need guys that can be consistent. This guy has no consistency. He's a flash.
Hell, he's got no consistency. JL, you agree?
Yeah, I do agree. I think he's flexible. He's that type of player you could throw in if you absolutely need to, but I'm not confident starting him. It does feel like a lot of the most recent performance has been buoyed by these by these touchdowns. I'm not confident. I'm afraid he'll get another 2-3 target game where you get a couple points and you're left disappointed in your playoffs. So I can't confidently say KJ Osborne is a fact.
Nah, and I'm not expecting another crazy game like that against the Giants. I mean, not that I sat here and expected the Colts to go up 36-3, but I'm not seeing that from the Giants right now. You know, they're coming off a win. They're hot right now, but probably going to be some water thrown on that this weekend. You can't start KJ Osborne with any level of confidence. What about the wide receiver in Jacksonville with 3 touchdowns this week? Zay Jones, 6 receptions, 109 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Facts, bro.
Facts, JL?
Straight facts. Zay Jones, the man.
Yes, bingo. Like me and John and Pem and I, there was not one start-sit question we got this week where we didn't recommend Zay Jones. He is so locked in, man. Like, look at these, listen to these games. 10 targets, 14 targets, 7 targets, 12 targets, 8 targets.
I'll add on to that, Coop. 21.8% target share in the season, 23.3% in the last 3 games. So it's trending up. Last 3 games, he is the second high. He's the player with the second highest target share on this Jacksonville Jaguars team, right behind Evan Ingram.
Bingo. Evan Ingram, so good. But like the Zay Jones
jumped up 10%.
He's dialed in. These guys are dialed in. It's highly consolidated among the top pass catchers. They are throwing a ton. They're all on the field at the same time. It's exactly what you wanted to see. What you hope you would see is that it would be even better if it's consolidated among 2. That's when you get like the seasons where you have Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, both wide receiver ones, or you get Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders, or Juju Smith-Schuster and Antonio Brown. But the next best 3, right? That's what you want. You want Marvin Jones to go away. I think Marvin Jones did score a touchdown. Everyone's scoring touchdowns. Trevor Lawrence is just coming out of his ears over there, the touchdowns. So it doesn't really matter. But I mean, Zay Jones, you can't go away from a guy like that.
I went back and found these 2 bets that I had placed when we were driving through New Jersey this summer. And one of them was the Browns win the AFC Championship, which is not going to happen. So I lost that. But the other one, I was pleasantly surprised. I took the over on Jacksonville Jaguars getting 6.5 wins. And so they just need 1 more win, and that hits. Pretty confident. This Jacksonville Jaguars team should be good. The rest of the season, they got a pretty easy schedule, if I'm not mistaken.
Joe, you know what? You know what's sweet? Yesterday, you also texted me and Tim. My favorite team, the Browns. Tim's favorite team, the Dolphins. You texted a screenshot of you placing a bet on the Dolphins to win the Super Bowl. You're telling me last time you drove through New Jersey, you placed a bet on the Browns to win the AFC. You just want the things that'll make your friends happy to happen.
Pander.
You're out there
I want
placing bets for like things that would make your friends happy so you can cheer with them. Like when I heard you say that, I was like, he just wants to cheer with us. Like even if his team's not in it, he wants to be cheering for the same thing. That's sweet.
We're gonna bet on the Ravens.
You sweetie pie.
Are you a secret angel of joy?
I am. Busted.
How did you
Not
know?
so secret anymore.
Guilty as charged.
Guilty.
Guilty as charged. Dude, I'm looking at this picture of this macaroni and cheese loaf over here that's made with hot dogs, and you would think it's gross, but it looks amazing.
Did you say made with hot dogs?
Yes, these are all the ingredients. 2 packages of macaroni and cheese, 5 tablespoons of butter, 1/2 tablespoon dry mustard, eggs, shredded cheese, and 4 hot dogs. And
Okay,
Oh my
well,
God! Just the
yo,
whole, apart from the
you are
cheese, the whole
looking at
last
so good,
list of
bro.
ingredients is wild.
so good.
You say mustard powder?
Yeah, you got to get mustard up in there, dog.
Are you guys looking, Coop? I imagine you're not looking at like the pre-packaged one that looks like a can of Spam with 6 noodles and 4 chunks of like American cheese sitting in it.
There's a
That-
there's a
pigs in blankets
pre-packaged macaroni and cheese.
Macaroni
loaf.
and cheeses?
Many brands of this. There's a lot of brands, and it looks vile. It looks like something Andrew Zimmern would eat on Bizarre Foods or whatever the hell the name of that show was. Oh my God, just disgusting. The other one looks good. I'll give it to you. I'm not a hot dog guy, but the other one looks good. It just looks like baked mac and cheese in the size of a pan. But that's where I'm
Gotta get
sitting.
some H dogs going, dude.
John Luke, another player I wanted to know if they were fact or flash. You quickly told me Zay Jones was a fact. But what about Jahan Dotson, wide receiver for the Washington Commanders? He had a big game, 105 yards, a touchdown, and God, one of those catches he made this week when he was running down, defender was all over him. Defender hasn't turned around yet. He just reaches over him mid-stride, pulls the ball in, and the announcers went nuts. They just couldn't shut up about how much fun it was. Fact or flash, yeah.
Yeah, this is tough because he played the Giants in both of these games where he has since popped off. But we also saw flashes from Jahan Dotson earlier in the season. He's got San Francisco and Cleveland in the next 2 weeks. San Francisco is going to be tough. Cleveland is. I'll go with fact. I'll go with fact.
What about you, Coop?
JL made a kind of good point there of like how many. You said he flashed early in the season. How many flashes do you need to be a fact, right? Where it's like he's flashed enough. If he wasn't hurt, I think we would have seen a lot more flashes from this player where it would be easier to say fact, right? So for me, like I look at the usage is good. The eye test, he clearly passed it, like you talk about, going up and making catches. And this week, Terry McLaurin led the team with 33 routes. Jahan Dotson ran 32. Pretty good. Feeling pretty good about that. If he's basically playing on the outside opposite Terry McLaurin, and then Curtis Samuel comes in and plays the slot, but Curtis Samuel only ran 24 routes. He's already surpassed Curtis Samuel in terms of his usage, which that's kind of the big test is that if he wasn't good, and we saw that from this Washington team with other wide receivers in the past that didn't pan out, Diami Brown, for instance, they took in the second round. They had Antonio Gandy Golden, who couldn't find his way on the field. And what happens is a guy like Curtis Samuel would play all the snaps, and he would come in to be the third fiddle. They've already made him the top dog opposite McLaurin, so I've bought in. I'm in. Jahan Dotson, very cool.
Were you just reading my old rookie drafts off there whenever you started naming players? Diami Brown, Antonio Gandy Golden. I just got like flashbacks to all these players. I was like, this is the guy.
Hakeem Butler, Kevin White, Riley Ridley, just a who's who of who Twitter thought would be good, and then ended up being real bad.
Laquan Treadwell. You tricked me. You tricked me so bad, Laquan Treadwell. I was in. I was convinced he was going to be a star, but he wasn't.
Everyone thought he was, though. That's the thing people forget about, like, Laquan Treadwell and N'Keal Harry. Like, you can't really go back and find many people that were like, N'Keal Harry's not a good pick. Everyone thought that pick was good at the time.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. For Jahan Dotson, I think it's a fact, but it's a fact maybe with a bit of an asterisk. I do think he can have games where he's going to get 2-3 points just with the role he plays on this field. It's a fact that he is a great boomer bust option on your team for me. Like, you plug him in, you're hoping for that touchdown, you're hoping for the long play. He had a 60+ yard one this week, and if I'm not mistaken, that's what you want from Jahan Dotson. And I think it's a fact that he can give that to you. I'd rather play him than Mac Hollins, I think, whenever I'm looking at like the kind of player who can blow up on my team. So I'll roll him out there. Roll him out there. Now, Coop, we got a tight end one, so I'm going to roll with you first on this one. Dawson Knox, tight end for the Buffalo Bills, 6 receptions and 98 receiving yards, 1 tutty. Dawson Knox, factor flash. Yeah, I felt weird. I'm never saying tutty again. Oh,
no,
shoot,
don't like that one.
You can mix a couple tutties in there, bro. The thing about Dawson Knox is the conditions were perfect for a Dawson Knox game this week. We talked about why that was the case.
Ice
right?
map?
We have if you go on, what is that?
Ice map.
Ice map. They played on the ice map.
They played on the ice map, dude. Yeah, they got the silencers out. They got the all the white outfits, right? You know, it's like in the like SOCOM or whatever. They got the big parkas on. You know, that was it was a Dawson Knox
Inception.
Yeah, exactly like that, dude. And Dawson Knox is the perfect guy for the job. And also, Miami's a bottom 5 team versus tight end. If you go to the Front Yard Fantasy YouTube page and kind of just scroll through the shorts on there, which are awesome. I was doing that yesterday, and they were cracking me up, especially the one with Joey, because I don't know if I remember that, but Joey said that he would let Derrick Henry run him over for $20.
Yeah. He asked clarifying questions like, all right, are people there? Like, am I being watched?
Is anyone watching? Yeah,
I'll do it for
$20. The best part is that he asked if people were watching. When we said yes, then he was in. If no one was watching, he wouldn't do it. It
would have taken more money.
That's a true man of the brand. That's a true man of the brand right there. He's trying to get those.
TikTok went ham with that video.
The best part about the comments on that one were like, it was either like free or I'd pay or $50,000. They were like, and then some people would come out and be like, well, are my medical expenses being covered? Like they would. I'm like, I don't know, man.
A lot of people worried about their medical expenses on that one.
Yeah. So check us out on the YouTube channel. But I mentioned that there's a clip on there talking about how high ADOT players in the cold and the wind and the snow are, and that especially goes for the games this week with the 25-mile-an-hour winds. It's going to be the low ADOT players and the RBs that benefit. And Dawson Knox is in a perfect situation. That said, this week he gets the Chicago Bears. Not a great matchup for tight ends. They are a top 5 team versus tight end. I'm not chasing last week's game script to this week, right? I guess the one argument you could make is that it's supposed to be windy for that game. Maybe they do go low ADOT again, but the Bears are pretty good versus the tight end. So you could be getting a little too cute chasing last week's points. So just be careful with that.
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you, Coop. I think he's startable, but this performance is a flash. He's a tight end in that glob that you can plug in. He's in a good offense. So he's probably got decent odds of a touchdown. He hasn't done it much this year, but I'll take the tight end on a good offense and hope for the best. JL, what about you?
3-4 catches type guy where
yeah,
you could do worse. You could definitely do worse.
He gets you 8 points without a touchdown. Maybe he gets you 15 with a touchdown or something like that.
Yeah, he's got 13% of target share on this high-powered Bills offense. That's gone up the last 2 games, so we can only hope that continues. He's got Chicago and Cincinnati coming up. Yeah, I think this is fact for Dawson Knox. I think this is exactly what you'd expect.
Which is not that good.
Which is good sometimes.
Good sometimes. But yeah, I mean, and the thing is, when you only have 2 games left in your fantasy season, good sometimes at the tight end position, you can get away with it. You know what I mean?
If you don't have one of those top guys, Dawson Knox is your best option. I don't think it's a bad option to have.
It's better than Tyler Higbee is your best option.
Better than Tyler Higbee.
But the thing is, it's like you said, the last 2 games, that's gone up. But when you expand that sample size to the last 4 games, what do those games look like? 2 catches for 17 yards, 0 catches for 0 yards.
Yes,
and 1 tackle.
He had not so good games against Detroit and against New England. You are correct.
Which he should have had
sometimes.
Detroit's a bad matchup. The Lions, he should have had a better game. I don't know what happened there.
The Patriots, though, it's reasonable that he didn't have a good game against the Pats.
I will say the windier it gets, the more I actually kind of like him because he runs those low A dot routes that there you have to lean on when it gets really windy, right? You can't be. It's harder to chuck it up to Gabe Davis in 25-mile-an-hour winds, but you can still throw a little quick beam to Dawson Knox.
Yeah, I will say too, like that Detroit game, they almost lost. They almost lost that game to the Lions. So I think a lot of their game plan probably went out the window.
That's wild. That the Lions were they've won 6 of their last 7, and the one loss was them almost beating the Bills,
A
who
3-point game.
For a lot of the season were considered like Super Bowl favorites. Might still be if we're looking at the betting odds. They got to be up there.
Yeah.
But
They just barely won to.
Dan Campbell, the power of motivation. I have no other explanation for how they're winning these games. Their offense is great, but I don't think anyone was
expecting. Their defense has been playing good.
They got some stars on the defense, which is helping, right? Like they got some young stars in Aiden Hutchinson, Jeff Okudah. Like they are helping this defense immensely. I'm excited for this Lions team over the next 3-4 years. It's going to be fun to watch them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they built it the right way, inside out. I like that they built the line first, and now everything's coming together. That's the way to be.
It's the way to do it. Coming up, we are going to play one of our new games called Vague Descriptions, and then we'll hit up some waiver wire targets that we're prioritizing going into Week 16, fantasy football semifinals, or I know finals for some of you guys if your commissioner forgot to change the league settings at the beginning of the year. Not that anyone would ever do that. And then, of course, we're going to talk about the NFL playoff picture as Week 15 has come to a close. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Front Yard Fantasy, weekday mornings at 7 Eastern.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just banning the porn bots real quick.
Whenever the porn bots, I will say, dude, whenever the porn bots show up, it means we're doing something good. It means that we're showing up. So, they wouldn't find us if we weren't, if the live stream wasn't good. So you know what? We welcome you here. Tinder-hot-.xyz-basketball adult dating site. One of our biggest fans.
I detach all of my self-worth to how many porn bots come into our show in the morning. If we don't get any porn bots, I go the rest of the day thinking like, what did I do wrong? Why didn't Tinder-xyz.com want to hang out with me this morning?
Yeah. People ask, how's the show? I'm like, not that good.
No porn
bot showed up.
Moose and Keith, weekdays at 10 a.m. Eastern.
Because I never asked you this. When Noah was growing up, when did Noah first where you got a sense that this is what my son wanted to do?
I was really busy during his formative years. I didn't meet Noah till he was about 19.
Nice. So, your wife did a good job.
Yeah, you may want to talk to him. I would say about first vision, he started showing a legitimate interest. He started getting curious about how I prepared, what it required. And then I saw a little bit of a shift, 14, 15, where he was concentrating on the on-cameras, the interaction between play-by-play and analyst, and started probably taking mental notes at that point of the performance aspect of, okay, you do all this prep, but you got to go out and deliver it. So, yeah, probably that 14, 15 range, I thought to myself, this could be something he really wants to do.
Better Sports Network is betting, fantasy, collectibles. It's sports talk done better.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. How you doing, Joe? You doing all right this Tuesday morning? Oh, you lost your voice, I think, really quickly.
Oh, wow.
You found it.
Doing fantastic. How you doing, Simon?
I'm doing perfect. Nothing could be better, JL.
Nothing could be better. We're hanging with our friends.
Exactly.
Talking football. Coop's gone, so,
What's it called whenever it's just me and you? When it's just you and Coop, it's Coop and the Hogs.
Best buds talk fantasy.
I was going to say just trouble.
Sure.
I feel like that's what I was called. Uh-oh is what it's called whenever Coop is gone. It's just me and JL. We had a question come in the chat, guys, that I wanted to hit. The question is, if Hurts is out, who would you guys play out of Trevor Lawrence, Derek Carr, and Brock Purdy? Coop, is this going to be T-Law for you, or are you rolling with Carr or Purdy?
Trevor Lawrence, man. He's the hottest quarterback in football. He's the new Peyton Manning, dude.
John Luke, are you going with the
Trevor
new Peyton
Lawrence.
Manning? Peyton Manning with hair?
He's the new Eli Manning.
Harry Peyton
Trevor
Manning,
Lawrence.
boys.
Harry Peyton Manning.
3 out of the last 4 games, he's thrown for 300 yards and 3+ touchdowns.
Can you imagine what Peyton Manning would look like with Trevor Lawrence's hair?
Yeah.
He would look
perfectly,
glorious.
Pretty good, right? It's a nice picture.
Just imagine him shaking it out while eating a slice of Papa John's pizza.
He doesn't like Papa John's anymore.
Oh, he doesn't?
No.
It's married in my head, him and Papa John's. I cannot disconnect the two. They're together. How am I supposed to separate them at this point?
I don't know.
Guys, if you're listening in and you're enjoying what we're doing over here, we got some good news. Here on Better Sports Network, we have a holiday gift for all new subscribers. You're going to get a free 90-day trial if you sign up for a monthly subscription. You can hear all of our talk shows whenever you want on demand in the app, exclusive interviews, like our one with Amon Green, fun features and special events as well. All you're going to have to do is enter promo code HOLIDAYS, and you're going to get that whenever you sign up for a new subscription. We had another question come in here as well, guys, that I wanted to make sure we were hitting over here. Another QB question. This one from Eric. Eric said, best of both evils, Mac Jones or Gardner Minshew? John Luke, you rolling out Mac Jones or you rolling out Minshew?
Oh, God. I think I'm going to roll out Minshew.
It's probably got to be Minshew, bro. Minshew's got the better offense, better weapons, and like Mac Jones looked bad. There's also a real possibility Mac Jones could get benched, right?
He's in the basement right now. Like I thought that he would have a safer floor than Minshew, but I don't know that he does. Like, he scored between 5 and 7.48 points in the last 2 games. Like,
and I'm a Patriots fan, and I'm saying you can't trust Mac Jones. Dude.
He scored more than 14 points one time this season.
No.
One single time.
Thanks. And Matt Patricia,
Minnesota.
Matt Patricia is just so brutally bad. It's like everyone knows you're calling a screen pass, Matt. Like it's not that hard to play the Patriots right now. You know what I mean? They should have easily won that game. Just crazy, dude.
My first thought when that lateral happened was Matt Patricia called that play. You know what I mean? Like Matt Patricia told them to do it, and they're just not ratting
screaming
him out.
at him from the sideline.
None of those, like that's why 3 different players said I take full responsibility because they were trying to guilt Matt Patricia into like saying, "No, I told."
He was forcing them to.
That was me. That was me.
Yeah.
I didn't
like,
tell
you
Bill.
better take full responsibility, or you're fired.
I grabbed him on the way on the field and I said, "You will lateral until someone wins this game."
I just love Jacoby Myers' explanation where he's like, I thought Mac Jones was open. Like, open to do what? Open to do what exactly?
Yeah,
like,
what are you expecting from your non-mobile quarterback?
He can't throw it again. Yeah, you're gonna throw it back to him, set like where he needs to now run 70 yards through the entire team. Not gonna happen.
The guy who in week 14 had 5 carries for -1 yards.
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen, bro. And Minshew, the last 2 times he did play when Hurts was banged up, he was banged up, and then they just sat him for they already had the bye locked up. He threw 2 touchdowns in both those games. So especially if Dallas Goedert is playing, because he can clearly find Dallas Goedert. He threw 2 touchdowns to Dallas Goedert in one of those games that I'm in, dude. Just can't be starting Mac Jones.
I'm with you, Coop. JT86 wanted to know, you guys okay with the Jets matchup for T-Law? Yeah, it's not the world's best matchup, but Trevor Lawrence has been killing it against not the world's best matchups. It's not like he's just played. It's not like he's just played bad defenses in that stretch, right? Tennessee, Dallas, both good pass defenses. He ripped him up. I'm sticking with it. I'm not going off the kid.
Yeah, looking back at Lucius's comment where he said, "I have Hurts everywhere." That sums up all my fantasy teams right now. There's just Hurts it hurts everywhere.
It hurts everywhere.
Jonathan Taylor out, dude. Like it's all Hurts everywhere.
Luckily, the one league where I had Jalen Hurts was Scott Fishbowl, and I got knocked out of the playoffs because I started Greg Dulcich over Jerick McKinnon.
Again.
Wow, lucky.
You did it again 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, and I survived the first week with the bad start sit call. This week, I really just messed
no one to blame but you.
I know.
You get caught up in that tight end preems, bro.
You do. I fell for it. Eric in here with another question for us. At PPR Flex, Jamal Williams, Marquise Goodwin, or Zach Moss? Where are you rolling, JL?
I'm going to go Jamal Williams. He didn't do much this past week, which sucks, but I expect him to still be used in this offense. He is the running back too. probably is not going to do what he did before, but he's still getting goal line carries. So yeah,
He scored a touchdown. He scored a touchdown this week. It got called back on a play on a holding that I don't think had any effect on the play. Like it would have just been a normal Jamal Williams week if it wasn't for that. They still go to
got Carolina this week too.
Yeah, he'll be all right.
It's Jamal Williams for me as well in that one. And guys, if you've got fantasy questions, I know these are high stakes weeks. Throw them in the chat. We would love to answer any and every fantasy question you have for us. YouTube chat, BSN chat, or call in if you want to call in and ask us live on the air as well. John Luke, I think it's time we get into our game vague description. Do you want to run us through how this game works and then we can get started?
Absolutely. If this is your first time with us playing this game, it's very simple. It's very simple. I came up with Keith and I came up with a bunch of prompts here. The prompts are going to have a category associated with them and a vague description. The contestants have to guess what they think the vague description is describing, and they will get an opportunity to score a point. If they do not get it correct, their opponent will be able to steal that point if they can get it correct instead. So they'll have an opportunity to answer correctly if either one of them gets it wrong. We're just going to go back and forth like that until we have a winner. Until we have a winner at the end. Straightforward?
Let's do it.
All right,
Simon. Close the chats because I know people in the chat are generally smarter than I am. Probably going to figure these out. So, guys, play along. Throw your answers in the chat. We'll shout you out. I closed them, so I'm not cheating.
The chat is undefeated.
We love it when you play along in the chat, and we will shout you out if you get it right. Like Simon said,
we'll berate you if you get it wrong. Although
yes.
I can't. I closed the chat, so Jail, you're gonna have to be in charge of berating.
I'll be in charge of the shaming and humiliating, as well as praising. So Simon, you were going first in this one. Are you ready?
I am so ready.
All right. The category for your first prompt is football. Here's your description: people who always get in your way.
I feel like that could be a lot of things in football. People who always get in your way. How specific should I be here?
As specific as you can.
I will go with defensive linemen.
Simon, that is correct. I will give it to you. I was just going for linemen, but I will give you that.
Would I have gotten it if I said?
Or actually, I'm not going to give you that point.
No. Okay.
I'm going to take it away, Simon, because the answer is offensive lineman, which is different. So you
should have let me go.
I just gave it away.
I was gonna say blockers.
Blockers. Oh, I probably wouldn't have given you that.
Why the people that always get in your way?
That's pretty good. That's pretty good, but I wouldn't have given
it. If it's even better than the stupid one you came up with. I'm coming up with better answers, dude.
Listen, take it up with Keith.
Keith, blockers, dude. People that always get in your way, blocking you. Come on now.
So sorry, Simon.
Come on now, baby.
I'm not going to give you a point.
My thought process there was on the offensive line. Yes, they get in the defensive line's way, but their primary task is to get people out of the way. Know what I mean? Like they're opening things up. They're not closing.
Whoa! Why are you the running back in this situation? If you're a defensive lineman, then they are getting in your way.
Right. But I'm just saying, I said the way I was thinking about it. So if you want to tell me I'm just an idiot, that's fine. But the way I was thinking about it was they open things up. The defensive linemen are the ones that are like, I think we default to offense. Sorry, Craig, and IDP. Like the defensive linemen are getting in the way of the offensive players, which is where I default as a fantasy player. The offensive linemen are opening things up for the offensive players.
If you're Mark Sanchez, they're all getting in the way.
Butt fumble.
You're getting butt fumble.
You know what, Simon? I will give you the point because I told you I would give you the point. I think you made enough of a case. I'm going to switch back. I'm going to give you the point here.
Blockers was the only correct.
It's a good suggestion.
Wrong answer. Possession arrow my way.
Yes, jump ball, Coop.
Next jump ball, possession arrow goes my way. So
Producer Keith says scandal. It's your prompt, bro. Scandal.
Controversy. All right. So okay, 1-0. Simon. Possession arrow my way.
Possession arrow your way. In the chat, we got DJ Duvernay saying, "Let's go, y'all! I somehow won my match last night due to Christian Watson blowing it Opponent only needed 1.8 more points to win. Yes, let's go.
Oh, that feels good. The ones where you can just
Let's go.
really rub your friend's nose in it. Know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
The
those feel the
1.8
best.
absolute wreckage.
Oopsies. Scores
And
touchdowns
DJ
every week until he doesn't.
Until he does not. DJ also saying, doing fantasy questions for week 16 in the stream. Absolutely. Throw them in the chat. And speaking of, we got a question here from Nick, from our good buddy Nick, saying 2 QB league. I have Hurts and Allen. Trash league has the ship in week 18. I don't think I'll have either of them if I were to make the big dance. Thought this was a question. My bad.
So not a question, just commiserating.
Just commiserating.
I'm sorry you have that horrible league setting in your league, and you're probably right.
Yeah.
You probably won't have either of those guys in week 14 or week 18. So maybe go pick up Gardner Minshew and a Brock Purdy or whoever's sitting on the waiver wire, and you just got to roll with it.
Brock Purdy's there, 2 QB league.
Hopefully they're probably none of those quarterbacks are on the waiver wire. Who's going to be out there? You pick up Baker Mayfield and Zach Wilson and Gardner Minshew, and you just hope for the best.
Gardner Minshew definitely would be there.
That's an interesting idea. Yeah, Gardner Minshew. Any team, who are these teams that could be starting their backup QBs? So what ends up happening, the NFC teams are the ones that are the best bets for that, right? Because it's not only just the fact that the Eagles could do it, but because the Eagles are so far ahead of everyone, other teams don't have much to play for in that regard. Like if you have your division locked up, so who's the backup QB for the Vikings? Is that a guy that we would consider? Because one more loss for the Lions and that division's locked up.
Yeah, that's a great point, Coop, that you can pick up these backup quarterbacks. It's not just the one turdiness team. There could be ways to solve this problem. It's Nick Mullins is the backup quarterback for Minnesota. He's startable. If he's playing in week 18, you can start Nick Mullins.
Yeah.
That's the move. Look at these teams that look like they're going to have playoff spots locked up, but maybe not the bye, and go pick up a couple of those quarterbacks. Pick up 3 or 4 of them. Know what I mean? Because you're going to need to start 2 of them in week 18 to have any shot at winning. Forget about depth. Go get those guys. Those guys. Because who cares about second place? Know what I mean? Like, don't worry about if you're messing up your depth for week 17. Because if you lose in week 18 because you don't have the quarterbacks, it doesn't matter anyways if you lost in the semifinals.
They expanded the playoffs, right, to 7 teams from each division. Only 1 team gets a bye now. So there's a lot more. And if the Eagles have that bye locked up, all the teams that have the division locked up, they have nothing. They're not fighting for a bye week now. So could get real dicey. Like the Cowboys, what's their incentive? They can't win the division, right?
No.
Yeah, that's a good point. And DJ, throw your questions in the week 16 fantasy questions in the chat. But we're going to get into our next round. Vague descriptions. Vague descriptions. Coop, this one is yours. Category is TV show. Your description is government workers doing various tasks.
Okay. That could be a number of shows, but I'm going to go with the first one that came to my mind, which is Parks and Rec, one of my favorite shows.
Oh, good pull.
That's government workers doing various tasks.
Great
Parks and Rec
pull.
is absolutely correct.
Let's go. I love that show.
That show is
I love
gold.
that show. Yeah.
Just
oh
absolute
my god.
gold.
Andy and Aziz Ansari on that show.
Aziz kills it. Yeah.
April, one of the best characters in any sitcom. That show, I waited a long time to watch it, and then my last year of college, I started watching, and I was like, "This is the best." I was in love with that show. And then one night, it was 2 a.m. I was home alone, none of my roommates had gotten back from break yet, and I'm watching it. And about halfway through the episode, they're doing all these flash forwards, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is the last episode."
You watched
halfway
the last
through,
one.
and I just started freaking bawling. Crying my eyes out alone. If anybody had walked in, they would have thought like the worst tragedy had ever happened, because it was just the sudden shock of not realizing that I was watching the last episode until halfway through it. Threw me for a loop, man. Great show.
Yeah. Fantastic show. So good.
Rest in peace, little Sebastian.
All right,
Little
Sebastian.
Yeah, and Entertainment 720 is Front Yard Fantasy. Same exact thing.
Last week under my sweatshirt, I was actually wearing a Parks and Rec shirt. I had a shirt on that has a list of all the band names from Andy's band.
Nice, yeah.
mouse rat scare. What is it? It's and the picture on it is the scarecrow. What is it? Scarecrow boat. Jet Black Pope. Like it's so many terrible band names, dude.
Our buddy Jeff Geek Millen here in the chat said Parks and Rec is elite tier. Lil Sebastian forever.
Little Sebastian, baby.
What up,
10,000 candles in the
Wish
wind.
you in the saddest fashion.
Geek, you still in it? Geek, you still in it in Baby Bowl? I want to see. Let me know in the chat, dude. I'm pretty smoked in Baby Bowl. I know Kevin Tompkins is in it. I won it last year, but I hit the wall hard this year.
Kevin said the Andy's.
Andy's.
Andy's character is the best in that show. Amazing.
Jet Black Pope is kind of quietly a sick band name.
Quietly a sick. I like
it. The worst character in the show, easily John Ralphio.
No.
Whoa.
He's the worst.
Get the heck out of here.
Are top tier characters.
Yeah, they really are.
Mona Lisa might be my number one favorite character in that show, and she's such a minor one.
You know who's
Money, please.
Money, please.
You know who's super underrated from that show too is Councilman Jeremy Jam.
No, he's the worst.
You just got jammed.
You just got jammed.
Dude, the Jeremy Jam is the best, bro.
Already said they're turning on each other. Our plan is working perfectly, Keith.
That's right, dude.
All right, guys, let's get into our next round of vague descriptions here. Simon, this one is yours. The category is movie.
Oh, God.
The description is a guy gets stuck in a computer and tries to get out.
The Matrix.
The Matrix is correct, Simon.
Dude,
well done.
What do you mean he tries to get out? He wants to be in.
He gets out.
Yeah, he does want to get out.
The whole movie is him trying to get out. Like he gets
it's
out.
Like I turned it off at halftime.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, dude.
Dude, you guys are on fire. 2-1. Simon, you are in the lead. Coop, you ready for yours?
I'm prepared.
I've never seen.
Category is also movie.
You've never seen The Matrix?
I've never seen The Matrix. I just know what it's about.
Dude, it's so good, bro. You have to go back and watch the original.
I know.
And then look up who Jason Statham is. All right, Coop, your next one is the category is movies. Movie. The description is rich guy gets saved by spirits.
Oh, I know this one. Because I think there are many versions of this movie. But I believe. I just watched the Muppet version. So if this is the one I'm thinking of, it's the guy being saved is Ebenezer Scrooge, and it's A Christmas Carol.
It is A Christmas Carol, Coop. Well done.
I just watched Muppet Christmas Carol, which might be the best version of that movie.
Right.
Dude. No, I think
it is the best version of that movie.
I don't know. Scrooged with Bill Murray is also a good one.
Yeah.
But
Dustin said Scrooged or Spirited or any retelling of the Christmas Carol. Nick said Xmas Carol. Well done.
Yeah.
And Kevin Tompkins said there's nobody named Carol in that movie. What a rip.
Do you guys like Scrooged better or the Muppet one? Dude, the Muppet one might be Michael Caine's finest performance.
I don't know that I've ever seen the Muppet one. Tim also guessed.
Oh, you gotta watch it. Dude. It's good. There's some bangers in that movie.
What's the Christmas movie you watch every year?
Elf.
So I have a new favorite. I have a new all-time favorite as of the last few years.
Okay. You say A Christmas Story, I'm seriously gonna kick you off the show.
That's not that.
It's What a Wonderful Life.
It's a new movie. Maybe you guys heard of it. No, it's that's actually my dad's favorite, and I do like It's Wonderful Life.
Yeah,
my new favorite Christmas movie, my number one ranked Christmas movie, is now Klaus from Netflix. Klaus.
I've seen it. I've scrolled past it
animated
100 times.
Bro, you got to watch it. The animated movie. It is Trey Bone. It is a modern classic, dude, and it's now my favorite one. I truly enjoy watching that movie. I want to watch it every year moving forward. So,
what's so great about it?
It's just look at Jay in the chat. I don't want to give any spoilers. So, like, if I were to talk about it with somebody who had seen it, we would talk about this one aspect of it that is amazing. But I can't talk about that. I would never spoil it for you guys. I think you guys should watch it. The voice acting is amazing. The voice, you should watch it today, bro. The voice acting is so good. Here are some of the actors, but the guy that plays Klaus himself is he crushes, and it is J.K. Simmons. And you know who that guy is. He plays John Jonah Jameson in the Spider-Man movies, the bald guy.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Jason Schwartzman is the main character who's like the kind of punk. You know, you would know him if you saw him. I think he's the guy from American Pie or one of those movies.
Which
He's in a bunch
which
of
one?
he's in a bunch of Wes Anderson movies. He's in a bunch of
guys.
Wes Anderson movies. And then Rashida Jones is the chick, which is awesome. And it's all
They're all-
this movie's also Norm Macdonald's last movie he ever did. Rest in peace.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Throw your favorite holiday movies in the chat. I want to hear
Yeah,
it. I already see
Jeff
some people here.
Jeff in the chat getting me with this one. I just Googled it. This looks insane. Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. And the last name isn't Otter. They are otters. They look like puppets. And the description is Emmett and Ma Otter are very poor, but they are very talented singers. Christmas is around the corner and they both want to get the other a very special present. The prize in the talent show is $50. Both Emmett and Ma get a song ready for the competition. Emmett forms a jug band and Ma practices alone to vie with the River Bottom Gang. They're both entering the same competition to try to win $50 to give each other a happy Otter Christmas. I'm watching it. That's on my list.
You're going to watch that before all the other ones.
Before The Godfather, yeah. I'm going to watch Emmett Otter's Christmas for sure.
That makes sense. Godfather is tough
Emmett
to
Otters
get to.
has it only has 9 reviews from critics, but it's got 100%. Every critic that watched it was like, "This is a banger, dude."
That's awesome.
And DJ had some questions for us. So it said PPR, full PPR, Ingram or Dulcich?
Ingram.
Ingram's so dialed in, man. This is supposed to be a bad matchup for him. It's matchup proof, bro. So give me
And
Ingram.
then, yeah, I'm Ingram too. Unanimous. And then ETN or Monty as the running back too.
Man, with the wind that's expected in that game, I know it's a tough matchup for David Montgomery. They may have to rely on the run a little bit more. I think I'll roll Monty here. It's close between those two players, though.
Now, what I want to monitor is that I did see that Khalil Herbert was activated, but that doesn't mean that's the annoying part. Can we change the terminology surrounding the IR? Because you have to get activated twice, right? That's the annoying part where they say he was activated, and that opens up his 21-day window to be activated. It's like, can we change one of the words, right? Can we change one of the words?
They're just waiting to put it in drive.
Right. Yeah. It's like, yeah, you open the little case where the switch is. Like the case is open and you have 21 days to hit the switch before you shut the case or before the case slams shut. Like, can we change one of the words from activated so that
I think what they should do is just now they're on the UR, the uninjured reserve.
Right. Well, that's where Dallas Goedert is right now. They activated it from the injured reserve, got everybody all excited, but then they didn't activate him to the roster. It's like, pick one. Like, there should be one activation and then he's ready to play. That rant over.
So you're going Montgomery as well, Coop?
I don't even know what we're talking about anymore.
ETN or Montgomery? You're just going. You're just
Khalil Herbert
just going.
activated, but he's not activated.
What is the IR?
I don't know. I think I like ETN if Khalil Herbert's going to play. Otherwise, I like Monty. We like Monty when he gets the full workload, but when Khalil Herbert plays, Khalil Herbert gets like 8, 9, 10 carries, and that makes a difference. It truly does.
I think I'm going to go Monty.
Tommy had a fantasy question for us. Oh, sorry, Joe. You're going Monty?
Can we finish his DJ's last question here?
I guess.
He said with the rough Cardinal QB situation, would you start DeAndre Hopkins or would you bench DeAndre Hopkins for whoever you left out of the previous one, ETN or Montgomery?
No, I'm starting DeAndre Hopkins over both of those guys,
Hopkins.
even with Colt McCoy.
We told 3 different people on Sunday morning to start Zay Jones over DeAndre Hopkins. Can you believe that?
No.
3 different people had that question. We answered Zay Jones every time. John Pemba, I got to give credit to him, dude. He was adamant because I was like, yeah, man, look at the targets. John Pemba was like, no, you start Zay Jones. And I was like, all right, you start him. And I was like, we kept coming up with questions being like, even here? And John's like, even here. He crushed that one.
Yeah, I'm starting Hopkins. I don't know. This sucks. This is going to suck to bench ETN, but going against the Jets, I think I'd bench him.
You're still rooting for him in your heart, though, JL. So you win no matter what.
This is your situation. I'm not benching him just for no reason, but in your situation, I think I would.
It's the Jets, too. Yeah, you got it's not like he's playing the Texans.
Right. That's the next week.
And DJ said, what about if McSorley starts? Does that change it? Would you start ETN over DeAndre Hopkins then?
Probably.
All these guys.
Probably.
All these guys stink, bro. Like, is Trace how? It's so hard in this instance to judge between two guys that don't play. Like, how much worse is Trace McSorley than Colt McCoy? Who knows? You know?
Yeah, like we thought Brock Purdy was going to come in and suck. Like Mike White and then all of a sudden you also get players who we think Russell Wilson think he's going to be great. We don't know, man.
You don't know until you see it, right? So it's like when you're talking about Colt McCoy versus Trace McSorley, on what planet would I have any idea like who I think besides them, they set the depth chart. So that's how we know Colt McCoy has played better than Trace McSorley in practice. But like, who knows? They're both pretty bad.
I'm still rolling D-Hop out there.
Yeah, me too. All right, guys, let's get back into our game of vague descriptions. The game is tied up 2-2. You guys are on fire.
Possession arrow my way.
Possession arrow Simon's way currently. This is Simon's next prompt. You got the last one.
It's my turn, but the possession arrow is his way for the next toss-up because I won the.
If there's any controversy, we have to keep that in mind. Right.
But this next prompt is Simon's, and the category is things. Thing, not things, just thing.
I know all about thing.
Please just say it's a thing. Go.
It's a thing. That's the description. The description is talking with your hands.
Sign language.
That is correct, Simon. Well done.
I was going to say Italians.
With the category thing, you better be careful there, Coop.
Italians in New York. I'm walking in. Hey.
All right, Coop, you are next. Are you ready? This category is football. And the description is trying to get in a player's head when it matters most.
Trying to get in the player's head when it matters most. So I've got two answers, one vague answer and then one specific thing that's done. I think what I'm going to say for when it matters most makes me feel like it's only a very specific situation. So I'm going to say that this is ice the kicker. We call the timeout to try and stop the kicker, trying to get in the kicker's head. The ice the kicker timeout.
That is absolutely correct, Coop. Yeah, get another one.
I was going to say brain surgery. Because I imagine if they're under the knife, that's a pretty important time to get in their head.
That would have been a great guess, Simon.
Well, where's the football part?
Yeah, that's I don't know where the football comes in, but
they're a football player.
Oh, this is that trauma. I see.
That took a turn.
I just meant the football part is it's about a football player.
Okay, I think that's
loose
fair.
connection.
Well, this game is still tied. It's anybody's game.
It's anyone's game.
Anybody's game. Let's get on to our next one. This one is for you, Simon. Category is idiom.
What'd you call me?
The description is when you realize you position in the atmosphere.
Say that again.
When you're sick, but you realize you position in the atmosphere. You
position in the atmosphere or your position in the atmosphere?
You position in the atmosphere.
Your position in the atmosphere. I'm seeing from Keith.
Okay.
When you're sick.
Great work, Keith.
But your position in the atmosphere? Okay, so when you're
not sure how that clears it up, but
ill.
I got it.
I'm an idiom. So idioms are common phrases. And so I'm looking for a common phrase, something about being sick. You're
5 seconds. Meatball.
Head in the clouds. That's the only thing I can think of with atmosphere.
Incorrect. Coop, you have the opportunity to steal here.
Is that when you might be feeling a little under the weather?
Oh,
bingo.
Let's go.
Bingo. Coop steals that point, giving him lead here. And Dustin got in the chat, said under the weather. Got it for you guys. Well done.
Nailed it, dude.
And then just said Uranus. LOL.
It's never not
good guess.
Pretty good guess.
Yeah. Always a good guess.
That's been funny for 25 years. Since I learned that it was a planet, that's been funny every time.
And then Ninja also came in here and said, lost first round in my leagues. Now time to play keep away and be spoilers to other teams. Absolutely.
And we are pro that here.
Yeah. Yes, we are. And Ninja also said, been rocking with y'all all season. Thank you for all you do. Y'all are fun and hilarious. Down for the chat league next year if y'all do one. We appreciate you, Ninja. So grateful you come in each and every week with your questions. We love it. We appreciate it. All right. Coop.
Oh, and I'm losing. And it's Coop's turn.
And I have the possession arrow.
And you have the possession arrow. All things pointing up for you.
Everything's coming up, Millhouse.
Call me Kirk Cousins.
Call you Kirk
Cousins. No, you're not Kirk Cousins. Because he digs his way out of the hole at the end. You're Matt Ryan. You went up 2-1. Now the wheels are coming off.
Now the wheels are coming off. All right, Coop, here's your next prompt here. Category's movie. Description is a small hill.
God damn it. Small hill.
A small. Isn't a hill already small? A movie. Is this one Nacho Libre?
Is it Nacho Libre again? No. Is it a small hill?
It's gonna be Coop.
I don't know, dude. Small hill.
Bonk.
I'm not me yet. You talking? you had. Give me at least another 30. So a small.
Another
hill.
30.
Little.
Talk through it.
Mound.
Or I'm gonna bonk you.
Okay, let me.
So there's not awkward silence.
Let me
power
my way through awkward silence. But I don't think I'm gonna be able. I don't know if I can get anything here. I'm gonna have to just throw something out.
No, this is my chance.
Small hill would be little.
5 seconds.
No. I really can't think of anything. Mound.
1.
The word mound.
Bonk. That is incorrect. Simon, what is your opportunity to steal?
All I could think of the entire time was also the word mound. So I am going to go with.
Which also Ninja put in the chat, weirdly enough.
I'm going to go with Up.
Up is incorrect. Yeah. Not even sure how that connection could be made. It was Dune. Dune.
I was so focused on the size. You know what? Dunes can be big.
Dunes can be pretty big.
One of my favorite tweets of the year was when that movie came out. Did you guys see Dune, by the way? It was amazing.
No, because I keep telling myself I'm going to read the book first. And
I read the book. I read the book first. And it was even more amazing. Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah. But my favorite tweet that came out, somebody tweeted, "I love Dune. Dune drugs." Such a dumb tweet, dude.
Those are my favorite tweets. The ones that are just stupid.
Just so stupid.
Dude.
Dude. All right. And Dustin got that one. Got that one correct.
Job, well Dustin.
Done. And Kevin Tompkins said, how about movies people have actually seen? Yeah, Keith.
Dune's amazing, bro. I'm excited that they just wrapped on Dune 2.
Oh, nice. Another long movie. That's so boring.
Dune was very long and a little boring. It was not boring.
He said a little boring. It wasn't boring.
It wasn't boring.
Dude, sci-fi space stuff. Awesome.
And Tim said the curious case of Benjamin Button.
Small hill. The hill is his age. He's over the hill, but it gets smaller and smaller.
Cool.
Kevin Tompkins said, I know what I'm not doing. Watching that movie.
You gotta watch it, bro. Where's Joey? Where's Joey Wright to back me up here? Where are my movie people?
All right. Who gets first on that one?
Dune. Tim Wright goes Dune 2. Tune. Oh. 2 Dune, 2 Furious.
That's actually
Tokyo
pretty good.
Drift.
I like that. Tokyo Drift.
Dune 2 Tokyo Drift. All right. Next category.
We are down to our last 2 prompts here, guys. This is for all the marbles. Scoop, you are ahead by 1. It is 4-3. It is 4-3. Simon, this one is yours. Category is character. Your description is a charitable clown.
A charitable clown. Okay, I'm trying to think of famous clowns. There's a couple that come to mind. I'm wondering if this is like some cute way of like talking about Pennywise. I don't know what he could do that would be considered charity. Maybe he donates balloons to children. I've also never seen that movie, so I'm just going based off like the little details I know about it. So I'm gonna go with Pennywise as my answer.
Pennywise is incorrect. Coop, you have the opportunity to steal here.
Bonk!
What's your guess?
I think I know a charitable clown movie.
Oh my God, I'm an idiot. I am so stupid.
What's it gonna be, Coop?
Maybe. I'm gonna go with the Robin Williams film. Is that what you're thinking of, Simon? You know multiple charitable clown movies?
I'm not gonna say what I'm gonna say until after you give your answer.
Well, I might change mine. No, I'm gonna go with mine. I mean, no, but maybe charitable clown.
I need an answer, Coop.
All right, I'm gonna go with my first thought, which was Patch Adams.
Patch Adams is incorrect as well. Simon,
Can I jump in here?
Let Simon see if he can.
JL said character, not
Oh.
movie character, which hit me after I answered. This is Ronald McDonald.
This is
without a
absolutely
doubt.
Ronald McDonald. Well done.
Oh,
Absolutely Ronald McDonald.
I'm
Well
so
done.
mad. I'm so mad. I don't even get the point.
no,
Dustin in the chat got this one correct.
Because
Ronald
he's got
McDonald. So did
Grimace on the
Ninja.
mind.
Ninja as well.
They're all the Grimace gang out there. They know about Ronald McDonald.
more of a capitalistic clown, really. I would say, but all
Char-
right.
Tax
Charitable.
breaks from Ronald McDonald. Am I right?
Charitable clown.
All right, Simon. You did not get that one correct. Coop, this
That's
is your
right.
opportunity to secure your victory.
So
If you don't
lock
get this
them
right,
away.
Simon can steal and
Twist-
tie it up, though.
Twist the knife. Twist
Twist that
Dune
knife. Your category is movie. Your category is movie. Your description is two friends study to pass a history presentation.
Two friends study to pass a history presentation. I think so. I'm gonna guess this. I'm gonna pull a Simon here, a patented Simon. I'm going to guess a movie that I've actually never seen, and which is high risk because I might not get the point, and I will reveal that I've never seen a very popular movie. Is this Bill and Ted's Adventure?
This is Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, Coop.
Oh, I've
You'll
never
get
seen
this
it.
Point and win.
You're giving it only because he has the possession arrow. Am I not going to throw a fit here? Because that movie is not called Bill and Ted's Adventure.
It's close
Bill
enough.
and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
What other
Most
movie
ex-
is he talking about?
Bill and
new
Ted's
Bill and Ted?
bogus. There's multiple Bill and Ted's out here.
Adventures?
Ooh, thank God I had that possession arrow in my back pocket. Then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Either way, you're gonna win, Coop.
Dune
Well
or
done.
Strong Style Ninja in the chat. Dune or Dune not. There is no try.
Yoda.
Oh,
And Kevin
Coop.
got this one. Bill and Ted. Dustin got it. Bill and Ted. And so did Tim. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
and notice how no one said Kevin Tompkins got it, Bill and Ted, but he didn't say Excellent Adventure.
You're right.
Tim
you're
did
right.
say the whole thing.
So I should
I'll
watch
stop
that
throwing
movie.
shit.
That movie's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun movie. It's worth watching.
I've heard good things.
The new one was not a huge fan of the new one.
makes-
But Bill and
makes
Ted's
sense.
Bogus Journey, I'm all right with that one. It's not as good as the original, but Bogus Journey's pretty good.
Yeah.
Well
That's
done,
fair.
boys.
So did I win?
You did not. 3 to
yeah.
5. Coop
Give
is
it-
the
Damn
winner.
it.
Silver medal though, which is pretty nice, dude.
Pretty good. Yeah. Second's not so bad. Second's not so bad over here. is it?
You're on the podium, bro. You're up on the podium.
And the third spot is empty. There's just no one standing
Well,
next to me.
once
Dang.
again, the chat was the real winner. The chat is undefeated.
The chat got almost every single one, if not
think-
every single one.
They did.
You know what I did hear though? That first is the worst and second is the best.
I've heard that too.
Yeah,
I remember where.
That can't be right.
I'm pretty sure I heard that. So, I mean, take that at what you will, Coop.
Take that at what you will.
I've really ended up being. I've been the worst on this show quite a bit.
Guys, coming up, we are going to hit some waiver wire targets. So if you've got waiver wire questions as we head into week 16 or any other fantasy questions, throw them into the chat. Right now, you're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Better Sports Live with Rick Kamla at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific on Better Sports Network.
Andy Reid is the best current coach in the NFL. He's better than Belichick. Belichick has lost his way. He's better than Tomlin. He's better than Harbaugh. He's better than Shanahan. He's better than McCarthy down in Dallas. He's better than all of the gangster NFL coaches right now. Sean McDermott up in Buffalo. He's better than all these guys. Andy Reid is the greatest gangster that we have at head coach in the NFL right now. And I understand that you're saying, well, Belichick is the GOAT, Cam. How can that be true? Now you're bringing up old stuff. Bill Belichick can't draft anymore, okay? Talk to me. Nick Chubb, Sony Michel. Talk to me. DK Metcalf, Debo Samuel versus N'Keal Harry, okay? Talk to me. This dude has lost his way. Remember the year when he should have bottomed out and just tanked, but he couldn't, and he went and got Cam Newton, and they were a mediocre team, right? He's lost his way. And not that he can't coach up a good defense and that kind of thing, but overall, he's lost his way. Andy Reid's an absolute badass. They draft great. He's a great coach, makes the right decisions, when to go for it, when to kick, when to punt. The guy's the man.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
I hate the stupid unsportsmanlike conduct. As long as you're not disrespectful to the opponent, you should be allowed to celebrate.
How I used to say it, and to bring up, because now basketball's starting to bring up.
Oh, dude, it's even worse than basketball, isn't it?
So Dikembe Mutombo, who used to get teed up in the 2000s, in the 90s, they didn't give a crap. 2000s, though, when they tightened up the rules, they used to tee him up more when he did the Dikembe finger wag. But they wouldn't tee him up if he did it to the crowd instead of looking at like Eton Thomas, like one time I remember, and doing it right to him, or when his back was turned, doing it right to him. If he did it to the crowd, they would never call it. And so that makes me wonder if these players, while, yeah, they want to talk a little smack, maybe they should flex towards the crowd than at the player who they're standing over.
I guess.
I know it's soft, man.
It is soft.
Because you know what?
Like we're gonna give 15 yards for that,
bro. They think that, you want to know why? They're paranoid. They think that's gonna turn into a fight.
See, I disagree with that. That's not going to start a fight.
I agree with you. They don't agree with us.
It's one thing, okay, if you spit in someone's face or say something derogatory, like about their family or something,
right,
yeah, that can incite it. But if you're just like, yeah, I made that play, what? You know what I mean? Like, again, they know the rules. You got to know you're going to get flagged. You have to have discipline. But, like, I don't know. I have no problem with celebration as long as it's not disrespectful.
What's disrespectful? You know,
it's interpretation, and that's my problem. Watch, it's going to cost someone in a big playoff game, and that's when people are going to go crazy. There'll be a third down play. Someone makes a pass breakup, and they're in someone's face. They're going to throw a flag. It'll extend the drive. That team scores, wins the playoff game because of it. You need something drastic for it to really leave an imprint, and I hope that doesn't happen to my team.
Better Sports Network is betting, fantasy, collectibles. It's sports talk done better.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. It's in the game.
Auto game.
It had been a minute. I had to get to the auto game back in there. Also, I see Tommy in the chat said he had a very important fantasy question that got buried. We'll make sure to get to it. It's a reminder to everybody listening here. If you've got fantasy questions, we are here answering each and every one of them. And if you enjoy what we're doing here, if we've helped you out, you should head on over to our YouTube channel at Front Yard Fantasy. Hit that subscribe button. Check out the shorts that we're posting over there, the videos, and make sure you don't miss any of our other live shows. You can catch them all over there. So head on over there, hit that sub button, and let's hit Tommy's very important fantasy question here. We buried it earlier. He said, if you could be a character in any fantasy genre movie, who would it be? Mine's easy. I can give you guys a second to think about it if you want, because I know this for sure. It's been a dream since I was a little kid.
I already know mine.
It's Aragorn from Lord of the Rings. He's a badass, and Arwen was my first crush. Arwen from Lord of the Rings was my number one crush as a child. I was obsessed, and Aragorn and Arwen have that love connection. So I'll take the badass Aragorn and be in love with my first crush of Arwen.
Hyman wants those elf smooches.
It's an elf princess smooches.
Elf smooches.
But then your dad is Agent Smith from The Matrix, which you wouldn't even know because you never watched it.
It sounds good to me.
Mr.
It's not.
Mr. Grunewald. That's how he would say it. But you've never seen the movie, so you wouldn't get it.
Whoa, I'm in the Matrix. That's the only line I know. Keanu Reeves.
That was the.
That's it.
You sure you haven't seen it?
Yeah.
Red
pill, blue pill.
Answer's pretty easy and obvious, dude. It would be the Whomping Willow.
Scott said, holy crap. I just realized Simon is so young that Lord of the Rings came out when he was a kid who gets crushes. Wow, I feel old.
Simon still definitely gets crushes.
What a nerd.
No,
Did you say you're being the Whomping Willow from Harry Potter?
Yeah, bro. Whomping Willow kicks ass, dude. You
He wants that little room inside of him.
Dude, smush that car up, no problem, bro. Okay, dude, Whomping Willow is tough as hell, dude. Tough as nails.
Tough as nails.
Mm.
I have no idea.
Come on, dude.
I have no idea. Dude, I can't think of a single
How hard is the
person.
pick? Just be Harry Potter. He's like famous.
Dude,
He's a famous he's a famous
punk-ass Harry
wizard.
Potter.
Saves the world and stuff, you know?
Then be Mr.
Everybody knows him.
Longbottom.
I ain't being Neville Longbottom.
Yeah,
that's
being
for
Neville
sure.
Longbottom, dude. That'd be tight.
I'll think about it. Come back to me later.
Also, Scott, I knew that wasn't shade at all. Just sometimes it's shocking when you realize like how long things ago were and stuff like that. 21 years is nuts for those movies to have come out. Insane.
What is Lord Darkness from Legend? What the heck is that?
The character you're choosing to be, I'm guessing.
No,
and I'm with Nick. Neville's a hero, bro. Neville is a hero.
I'm not throwing no disrespect on Neville. All I'm saying is I don't want to be Neville.
That's fair because that was a really hard couple years there at Hogwarts for Neville Longbottom.
Yeah, guy went through some trials.
Well, dude, so no, that's what Tommy said. Tommy said he would be Lord Darkness from something called Legend.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I think Tommy's making it up. I think he's just saying things now. Just saying whatever he wants to say over there.
Pretty rowdy looking character. Just looks like the devil, dude.
As we're going to talk some playoff matchups and waiver targets here. But before we do that, I wanted to remind everyone that we are running a college football bowl game pick'em contest. And today is your last day to enter. You got to get it in before kickoff today. You can go to it at Better Networks or at bettersports.com and make your picks now. There's a link on Twitter as well. If you go to Twitter at Better Network, click that button, powered by Fantasy Alarm over there. So just head on over, make your picks, compete against us, see if you can take home one of our sick prizes that we're giving away. Bunch of sick merch, your choice of school if you get in that top 5 spot.
Yeah, the prizes are sick. The prizes are sick. You get like full-size helmet if you come in first, autographed, and then it's a jersey, mini helmets, dude, all sorts of stuff. Part of me almost would want the jersey as my top one. You guys like the jersey or the full-size helmet autograph?
Helmet.
Full-size
absurd.
helmet. It is so sick, dude. Yeah.
It's absurd to own a helmet. You said you thought of yours?
I thought of mine.
Before you go,
catch them. Nice and easy.
Oh, that's a nice one. That's a nice one.
Yeah, I just get to go explore and catch Pokemon all day.
Perennially 10. I saw something that made me think of you guys.
9 soon.
I saw something that made me think of you guys. There was like a company that was like wanted 10 was like a 10-year vet. It was like 10-year veteran with 20 years of experience. And somebody posted a picture of Ash Ketchum as the only candidate that would fit that. But dude, I've been chuckling to myself because Dustin put quite possibly the worst answer in the chat. Did you? Not Dustin. Jay put quite possibly the worst answer in the chat.
No, I didn't see it.
Dustin goes from pig in the city. He goes, yes. Dude, that's the worst possible choice. You're gonna be Babe.
Weird choice.
Are you kidding me? That's weird. You can be any character from any fantasy movie. You pick.
I feel like that's the movie that people. That's the movie that people quote the most without knowing that they're quoting it. Like at the end, that'll do big. And then people have no idea that they're quoting Babe at the end of that movie. I had to look it up the other day, and then I was like, "Oh yeah, that was from the movie I saw 100 times as a child."
Honestly, Jay kind of looks like Babe.
Picture. I'm looking at the pictures.
Kind of sounds like Babe too.
Babe, a little pig goes a long way. Dude, what a totally awful.
Little pig goes a long way.
What an awful choice, bro.
And Nick says never change. Unapologetically you. Yeah, Jay, we don't like your choice, but you rock it. Rock your Babe pick. You get to be a cute little talking pig. You're gonna kill it.
I want to know what producer Keith would pick, dude. Keith, what you picking, dude? But yeah, Babe, the Prince of Hogs, the Hog Prince, Babe. Oh, that's so stupid.
Guys, we are heading into week 16. It is Tuesday, which means it is waiver wire day, one of the most important waiver wires of the season. And we had some injuries as well, clearing the way for some pretty high priority waiver targets. I think the first one we got to talk about here is running back Zach Moss. And let's talk about Deion Jackson as well, with Jonathan Taylor going down injured, likely not playing for the rest of the season. Coop, whenever you're looking at the waiver wire, let's say you had Jonathan Taylor. How much are you prioritizing adding Zach Moss? And is that over Deion Jackson fully?
Yeah. I'll go as far as to say that and I mentioned this on the Besties last night, that I'm prioritizing him no matter what, Zach Moss no matter what, because even if I wasn't the guy that had Jonathan Taylor, one of the other playoff teams in my league might have had Jonathan Taylor, or there might be somebody sitting there that desperately needs a running back. So my thoughts on this player are I'm 100% adding him, maybe starting him, but I'm doing my darndest to block other players from getting starting running backs, right? And he still gets to run behind Quentin Nelson, right? He gets a game that we just talked about should be a high scoring affair. I don't want anything coming in and helping my opponents at this stage of the game. It would suck to do everything right up to this point and then have your opponent pick up, this year's Tim Hightower that comes out of nowhere and starts to drop in, 20 carry games to end the season.
John, look, you agreeing with Coop here that Zach Moss is the priority target?
No, I don't think that he's a priority necessarily over Deion Jackson. I think this is fairly split between which one I want more. I think Deion Jackson you can make a good case for Deion Jackson. I think they might work him into the receiving game a little bit more, so PPR formats might be more valuable. But yeah, I think both of these guys are top targets this week.
Who would you guys rather pick up, Tyler Allgeier or Zach Moss?
Allgeier,
just because I can be sure of his usage. The thing was with Zach Moss, man, he came out, he played 53 snaps. Deion Jackson played 25. Zach Moss played 28 run plays. That includes quarterback runs and stuff. And Deion Jackson played 14. So doubled them up there. And then Zach Moss played 25 pass plays and Deion Jackson played 11. So he kind of doubled them up in every category there. I think the big difference is the pass blocking. Zach Moss was asked to pass block 11 times, Deion Jackson only twice. If they trust you in that aspect of the game, you're going to get into the game for those plays. So I don't know, from this, again, it's a low sample size, and maybe they do with a week kind of drop a different game plan where they use guys, interchangeably. But for right now, Zach Moss is looking like the guy that I want.
Yeah, I think I would prefer to pick Zach Moss up over Deion Jackson. But when we're looking at Tyler Allgeier, I feel a lot safer in what Tyler Allgeier's workload is. So I'm going to pick up Tyler Allgeier over both of these guys if I can only add one.
It could very well, because of the small sample size, like JL is suggesting, it could very well be a situation where this week they end up in a negative game script against the Chargers and Deion Jackson plays more snaps. Like, I wouldn't bat an eye if that happened. So that's why you go Tyler Allgeier, because it's more certain. But if I had to pick between Moss and Deion Jackson, I think I'd pick Moss. JL, would you go Deion Jackson outright over it, or you're just worried that Deion Jackson's going to play too much in the pass game?
No, I just don't think we know. I don't want to go based off of one game where that game was the biggest comeback in NFL history, right? Like that game was just so odd, and that's like we talk about small sample size. It's of pretty much one, right? One game is what we have here, and so yeah, I'm hesitant. I lean Jackson. I can totally understand why you'd lean Moss given the usage in that game. I think it's more even than anything. I think both of these guys, you can go after whichever one you think, or put in similar, maybe drop the same player so you don't get both, or maybe get both if you need running back depth.
Jill, if I'm you, and that's I understand where you're coming from with that. We saw Deion Jackson fill in for Jonathan Taylor earlier this year without Zach Moss on the team, right? But they did show that they're willing to trust him as the back whenever Jonathan Taylor's out. So I get it. And if I'm you, and that's the way I'm viewing this, I'm probably just going for Deion Jackson, because I do think he's going to be cheaper on the waiver wire. You know what I mean? I don't think people are spending up. The hype right now is on Zach Moss because of that game. So if you think they're relatively equal, then get the guy who you're going to have to spend less fab on. Though, what's fab matter in week 16?
Deion Jackson did have that one game where he was RB2, right? He got 10 targets. So
yeah,
it's possible. But I don't know. It seems strange to me that they would use Zach Moss that much this week. Double in every phase of the game, double the snaps, and then turn around next week and be like, yeah, I don't know why we did that, because we like this guy better. Seems odd. That'd be strange, but I mean, it's fantasy football, so that stuff happens all the time.
Yeah, at the running back position, outside of those guys, though, it's pretty bare. Check your waiver wire to see if Raheem Mostert or Donovan Knight or Latavius Murray is out there, but most of
Somehow
those guys are
McKinnon is
rostered.
still out there.
Exactly. Yeah,
Pick 'em
names
up.
like that. But they're probably rostered. But those are the names that you're looking for. Dobbins, if Dobbins is out there, people haven't picked him up. Like I know in most
Unlikely,
leagues,
but yeah.
I see like the number I'm looking at now is 75% for Dobbins on Yahoo leagues. So most likely not out there, but 1 out of 4 of your leagues, J.K. Dobbins may be sitting on the waiver wire. So take a peek over there.
What about Cam Akers? How are you guys feeling about Cam Akers if he's on your waiver wire?
But I think you can
points last
start
night.
him. Yeah, that's what I'm.
8.3 the week before, 19 points the week before that.
He's playing.
He's playing.
That's how I feel about
mid-teens
him.
in the rushing attempts over the last 3 weeks, averaging 14 carries a game.
Cam Akers is one of the players of all time.
The problem with Cam Akers is they've got the Broncos next week. So if you need to start him right away, like you're already starting Cam Akers, and then against that Broncos run defense, rough. But you can pick him up. He's got the Chargers in week 17. So that actually is a pretty good start for fantasy championships if you're looking for a running back.
JL, let's say you lost Jonathan Taylor. You had Cam Akers on your bench. You were able to successfully add the Colts running back of your choice. Would you start one of the Colts running backs, or are you going to get nasty with Cam Akers against those dirty donkeys?
Those dirty donkeys. The disrespect. I would start either of the Colts running backs this week because they have the Chargers this week.
I like
just
that.
Targeting the Chargers.
Smart
Sorry,
though.
Chargers fans.
At a certain point in the season, we have a big enough sample size to say start running backs against the Chargers. Start them against the Texans.
Against the Browns.
Yeah. Start.
Given the
Start
third most points to the running back position, Chargers.
Start tight ends against the Seahawks and the Cardinals, right? Start
wide receivers against the Steelers.
Exactly. Like we know now. Titans. Start them against the Titans. And we know which ones to avoid.
Start everyone against the Lions.
Start everyone against the Vikings. Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally everyone. Grab your bench players, pick up the fourth string wide receivers, just get them in the games when it's Lions and Vikings.
Yeah. So I'm for it. I'm here for
Everyone's eating. A little bit deeper, like any interest in Marlon Mack? He's gotten some work recently, or is it Latavius Murray or bust in that backfield?
Yeah, I'm not interested in Mack.
The problem with Mack is, and people said this about Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon, is that if you were to take all the things that Latavius Murray and Marlon Mack do well and put them together into one player, you would have Latavius Murray. Right? Like for me to start somebody as a backup, like Jerick McKinnon, for instance, he's better at catching passes. So you can make that narrative. Marlon Mack is not a pass catcher. And Latavius Murray is doing fine in short yardage. So there's nothing that Marlon Mack, in my opinion, really does that's drastically better than anything Latavius Murray does. You gotta create some sort of narrative. Like with AJ Dillon yesterday, you could create the narrative that he's better at the goal line. And we saw that. You gotta create some kind of narrative of why you're starting this guy. And with Marlon Mack, I can't do it. Is he that much better in short yardage than Latavius Murray?
No. Latavius Murray is the man.
So cool.
See if he's on your waiver wire. Pick him up. Leave Marlon Mack out there. And if Latavius Murray isn't on your waiver wire, I'm sorry. You don't get a Denver's Broncos running back in your starting lineup, hopefully.
What about Khalil Herbert? We mentioned him earlier in the show, him coming back from injury. Any interest in Khalil Herbert this week? Detroit the following week?
No. No. David Montgomery was the lead back before Khalil Herbert got injured, even after Khalil Herbert had the awesome games. He's now coming back from injury. We don't even know if he's activated yet. And there's 2 games left in the season. I'm not picking up Khalil Herbert. Seems like a wasted bench spot.
Khalil Herbert feels like he belongs in that Alexander Madison category that Tony Pollard used to be in, and now he's finally escaped, where it's like you look at it and you say, this guy would start for a ton of teams in this league, and he would be very productive. But because they have David Montgomery, you're like, right? Like Alexander Madison, when he starts, is good, but he's not better than Dalvin Cook. So what are you going to do? Right? Like if Khalil Herbert was a starting running back for what's the team that just, they have like nothing going on, I guess. Like, I mean, if he was a starting running back for the Dolphins, we'd love him. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. I like Khalil Herbert. I think he's a good running back. We'll see what happens next year. if he's gonna be a lead dog somewhere or here in Chicago. But
like think about teams that where their running back sucks. Like, what if he was a starting running back for the Jaguars?
Damn, bro. Just
I'm
trying
gonna
to
get
bait.
kicked off the show.
There's more bait for us. Cat swipe that away.
Boys.
I almost reacted, and that's why I went silent. I was about to, and then
I almost got you, boys. You guys know I love Travis Etienne.
You almost got me with that one.
I almost got you though. I almost had you.
Sneaky mom with that one. You almost got me.
Sneaky mom.
Sneaky mom.
Now, as far as wide receivers go, I feel like there's a little bit more out there to pick up at the wide receiver position. Mecole Hardman coming back from injury. Do you guys have interest in picking up Mecole Hardman? He had some good games for the Chiefs before getting hurt.
He was on a streak there, but I'm with Coop.
Can't trust him.
Not very interested. He wasn't doing it on a very high target share, very high number of targets.
What about DJ Chark? DJ Chark this week going up against the Panthers. He's out there in about half of leagues. In this Lions offense, we talked about it. They're fun. They're high scoring. They're chucking the ball a ton. You guys throwing DJ Chark into your waiver wire bids this week?
Yes. Got 2.8 points this last week.
Brutal.
But listen up, y'all. Listen up, y'all, because this is what happened. DJ Chark was going up against the Jets. We talked about this last week, that Sauce Gardner played 711 snaps out wide, covering wide receivers, and only 8 in the slot. So he was not going to go in the slot to cover Amon-Ra St. Brown. They basically left him. What the Lions did is they sacrificed DJ Chark to the Lambs and just let him get destroyed by Sauce Gardner. And they threw it to James Williams. They threw it to Amon-Ra St. Brown. That's not going to happen every single week. This matchup, the Panthers don't have that player. It's been a long time since they had James Bradbury. So for me, I'm gonna trust him the way I was using him before. I'm not gonna go crazy because he is a guy that's better in standard. He's better in half PPR because he doesn't really rake in the targets. But games before that, he had 98 and 94 yards. So where I need him, I'm not going to steer away from him just because he had one bad game against one of the best corners in the league.
I'm with you. He's one of my preferred wide receiver pickups on the waiver wire this week. Like if Zay Jones isn't out there, which I know, again, in like 60, 70% of leagues, Zay Jones is not out there. DJ Chark's near the top of that list for the remaining players out there at the wide receiver position. I like him more than KJ Osborne. I trust his role a little bit more in that offense than KJ's.
I think as you see Jamison Williams get more involved in this offense, we might see less DJ Chark. I can understand wanting to pick them up especially with these two matchups, Carolina and Chicago, but I'm not too excited about it.
About Treylon Burks of the Tennessee Titans. Are you guys interested in Treylon Burks? He's available in about half of leagues out there.
Yeah,
we've seen some big games from him this year, but again, this passing offense in Tennessee isn't too inspiring. There's a upside cap with receiving options here in Tennessee.
You're absolutely right. It has not been inspiring. They have the division opponents here going against Houston this week, followed by Dallas. I think Treylon Burks is definitely a top pickup this week.
Yeah, he's coming off
main receiving option on that team.
Right, and it's also concussion. So assuming things are going according to plan, he's cleared protocol. It's not like he's going to be. It's not like some of these guys where they spend 4 weeks like in a cast and they have no conditioning. And they, you have to like limit their snaps. He should be ready to rock and roll right away. 1 week with a concussion. If he's cleared, then it's not like he's coming off a hamstring or something either. So I'm in on Treylon Burks. He's looked awesome. I mean, he got hurt scoring a touchdown. The coolest way you can get hurt.
Coolest way you can get hurt.
You're gonna get hurt, dude. Do it scoring like a 35-yard touchdown.
I forgot the Titans and Texans were playing this week, and I immediately went to go look to see what Derrick Henry's rushing yards prop was, but I can't find one yet.
It's gonna be like 170, dude.
That's what I'm saying. It's gonna be preposterous. It's gonna be a really high number because the Titans also need to win. You know what I mean? This is a competitive division between them and the Jaguars now. Jaguars control their own destiny in this division. Derrick Henry's about to go off against the Texans. The hottest team in football.
I was a sportsbook. I wouldn't even offer a rushing yard total. I'd just be like, no, we're not doing that this week. You guys
We're
keep
not doing-
stealing our money. I just wouldn't even put it on the board.
Derrick Henry, 105 rushing yards on Prize Picks.
105 on Prize Picks. Okay.
That wasn't
Ooh.
versus, but does it say versus the Chargers still, or has it been
No,
upgraded?
Houston.
It says Houston. 105. I smashed the over on that.
105 and a half.
Yeah, I'm taking that.
He's gotten 200 yards 4 times in a row against this team, is he not?
That's preposterous. That is a ridiculous thing to say out loud, and it's not a lie.
It could be a lie. I'm going to look it up. But
And it may be a lie.
potentially.
Jonathan in here had a question for us. He said, "Good morning, guys." Good morning, Jonathan.
Good morning,
Thanks
Jonathan.
for popping in with us this morning. He said, "Pick one running back between Pollard, Etienne, and Connor. Also, I still have Ingram on waivers. Would you play him over Schultz this week?" So let's start with the running back question. Pollard, Etienne, and Connor. John Luke, you got to play one of those running backs this week. Who's it going to be?
Let me look up their matchups here. So we got Pollard is going against Jacksonville. No, I'm looking at the wrong week. Yeah, week 16, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I am looking at the wrong week. Whoopsie doopsie. Dallas is going against Philadelphia. Jacksonville is going against New York Jets. And what was the third one? Connor. So
James
Cardinals.
Conner.
Yeah, Cardinals are going against Tampa Bay Bucks. I think I'm going to roll out. Roll out James Conner.
Agreed.
James Conner out of these three. I think I'm rolling out Tony Pollard. I like what I've seen from Tony Pollard, and if you're going to beat the Eagles, that's how you're going to do it, is on the ground. I imagine he's pretty involved in this game. He's been great for fantasy recently. I think Connor's a good start as well, but I'm going to keep rolling with Tony Pollard.
Yeah, they've just
This
been
is,
beating Connor over the last 5 weeks, especially with the Kyler stuff. I just feel like they're gonna lean heavily on the run.
Yeah, I can see that. I think you got some good options here. Etienne's the odd man out for me, the one that I'm not trying to
even
play.
so, Etienne's not a bad choice.
No.
Just not as good as the other two.
I would start Connor. And I have those Derrick Henry numbers. Keep in mind, these are just on the ground. Just on the ground. Last 4 games against the Texans. 219 yards, 2 touchdowns. 250 yards, 2 touchdowns. 212 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then the game before that, he had 211 yards and 3 touchdowns.
That's
202.
That's
Guaranteed
absurd.
locked in.
202, pretty locked in here. That's the last 4 times they met. The game before that, he had 21 carries for 86 yards. So a terrible game.
Scott Fish saying, "I've been tweeting these numbers for 3 weeks, just prepping for the Week 16 Derrick Henry matchup." Jonathan,
105. How is it set at 105?
that's very low. Jonathan had another question for us. They wanted to know: would you play Evan Ingram over Dalton Schultz this week? Coop, are you making that move? You plugging in Evan Ingram? He's been hot over Dalton Schultz.
Schultz, how are you, like, most people that started Schultz are no longer in the playoffs. He dropped the ball hard. And the thing is, Schultz is a terrible matchup this week. He has the Eagles. It's his worst matchup. So I am going to rank Evan Ingram ahead, even though he's against the Jets. The Jets are a better matchup for the tight end than the Eagles. So that's where I'm going. I mean, there are some scary matchups this week for the top tight ends, right? The high top guys are good. So Kelsey gets Seattle. Awesome. You're in trouble if you're playing Kelsey this week if you're playing against Kelsey. Mark Andrews gets Atlanta. Kind of hard to trust him, but I mean, it's Atlanta. And TJ Hawkinson gets the Giants. Some of these other guys, Dalton Schultz gets Philly. Brutal matchup. George Kittle gets Washington. One of the most difficult matchups for a tight end. They might be ranked number 1 in points against as of right now. I have to pull it up based on the new numbers, but they might be number 1. David Njoku gets New Orleans. They were number 1 pretty much all year long, and if they're not 1, they're 2. Dallas Goedert gets Dallas. Rough. Cole Kmet faces Matt Milano in Buffalo. Like, there are some rough tight end matchups this week. So Greg Dulcich and Evan Ingram and Chigoziem Okonkwo against Houston, like, you're happy to have those guys if you have them. Those are guys that are available on the wire. I mean, we'll get to tight ends, right? Are we doing tight ends for the waiver? Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to tight ends. We can get to tight ends right now from the wire, Coop.
All right.
Who's your preferred tight end pickup this week if you're peeking out there? Is it one of the aforementioned guys you just said?
So I can give you one at each. I can give you one at each level of ownership, right? So if so let's rule out all the guys owned in like 70% of leagues. But Evan Ingram and Cole Kmet on Yahoo, 72, 71%. If those guys are out there, you got to add them. They're getting the targets. They're producing. They're playing a ton of snaps. Those two guys are you got to grab them, but they're not available in many leagues. Greg Dulcich, 60% of leagues. We still like him. He's playing a good amount. He's done pretty good. The number one guy, though, that's available in a ton of leagues is going to be our boy Chig, right? Because he came out this week, didn't have that great of a matchup, still managed to get 5 targets again. He's good for 5 targets every week, it seems. And he's available 29. He's only owned in 29% of leagues. So he's out there in 70% of leagues. You can go out and get this guy. Simon's frozen. So if we go a little further than that,
with a terrifying face.
I was like, gee, I thought he was like, man, this guy is really listening to my tight end takes. He is like, he is engulfed. I think we destroyed him with the tight end. Tight end options. Yeah. So if you want to go down further than that, Juwan Johnson, but he has a tough matchup versus the Browns. So, you're chasing touchdowns with that Juwan Johnson move. The sneaky one that I like that's available in like every league is Daniel Bellinger. Daniel Bellinger
with 2
this
eyes.
week. Sorry?
With 2 eyes.
Daniel Bellinger has 2 eyes. Unfortunately, he had 2 eyes, came back with 2 good eyes, played 64, 66 snaps. The very next week, hurts his ribs. So gets his ribs banged up a little bit. He's been dealing with that. And then this past week, he got the Commanders, which is a terrible matchup. So I kind of throw that out the window. He got 4 targets, only caught 1 pass, but like he still got the targets. This week, if he's fully healthy off the ribs, if he's practicing all week, he gets Minnesota. That game has shootout potential. Minnesota's defense is a pretty good place to start tight ends. And this guy's only owned in 3% of leagues. So pretty much leagues of any depth, you can find this guy available. That's the guy that I'm saying. If you have no other option, he's out there.
John Luke, are you starting any of these waiver wire guys over like some of the aforementioned tight ends with tough matchups? Like if you have a Dalton Schultz on your roster, would you pick up a Chigoziem Okonkwo to start over him or a Juwan Johnson to start over him?
Probably not with Treylon Burks coming back for Chig, at least.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, some of these options, Evan Ingram, I think I'd start him over Schultz. I haven't gone through all the matchups this week yet, but I feel pretty confident in that. Like Coop said, the Jets matchup is not fantastic, but it's also not terrible.
Schultz is such a weird one that he did very little this week because it's typically a good matchup. He played 73 of 75 snaps, so it wasn't like he was hurt. And he only blocked on 3 pass plays. So this guy ran 31 of 35 routes. It was just a matter of every once in a while they decided to throw it to a Peyton Hendershot. That was the one opportunity that he was supposed to have, So pretty rough, man, for Schultz. Like if you started Dalton Schultz, I'll tell you, you did the right thing, in my opinion. Like you played it right. You played the guy that was getting the work, coming off a 10-target game, facing a good matchup. The game went to overtime even. Like sometimes, as they say, I think it's a Star Trek quote where they say, you can do everything right and still lose. That's life. That's kind of how it worked with Dalton Schultz, man. You did everything right, and sometimes it just doesn't go your way.
Absolutely. We had a question come in here. Help! Help! Okay, we're doing our best. We can help you out. Said if Lamar plays, start him over Fields and Cousins, which I started and kicked ass. I'm still in 5 of 6 leagues. I'm starting Fields. I'm starting Fields. Even
against Buffalo?
Even with the wind, even against Buffalo.
Whoa.
I'm starting Justin Fields. I can't get away from him. The dude is
Lamar has
magic.
Atlanta.
Get him, JL.
If he comes back.
Get him, JL.
I'm starting Fields. I'm starting Fields. I get it. I get the matchup, but he has entered that tier of player for me where I don't bench him. I'm just going to play him. So I would start Lamar over Cousins for sure, but I'm going to start Fields top out of all of these.
JL, who you starting?
It's going to depend. It's going to depend. If Lamar is back and fully confident,
hoping you'd come out.
then I'm going to go Lamar.
You'd come out with piss and vinegar.
I'm going to go Lamar. That matchup is too juicy, and I think he's going to want to come back strong. I'm not super confident that he's going to come back and be full strength. So if that's the case, then I'm going to go. Go ahead. Say what you got to say.
I want to test you on this. If Lamar Jackson, he comes back, he's full strength, full practice on Tuesday. You're getting him in there. Let's say Lamar Jackson does not participate through Thursday, but then gets a limited practice in Friday, but then he's named the starter.
Not doing it. Not my
Not doing
playoffs.
it.
Not if
So-
your other options are Fields and Cousins.
Yeah.
So let's say full practice. Let's say limited Tuesday, Wednesday, full practices Thursday and Friday. Is that enough for you? You think? Because that's kind of sometimes that's all we have to go off sometimes.
Yeah, and if it's trending up, then yes. Yeah.
Okay.
If the reports coming out are confident that he's going to be a full go, then yeah.
Okay. So we need to
You're
see
not
some full
messing around
practice.
with game time decision nonsense. But
Right.
if you get some clarity before Friday, you're in.
Let's see some
Right.
full practices. I like that. All right. Full practices, at least 2. I think I'd be okay with that.
We didn't really
Dustin's-
talk about Cousins matchup. He is the giant, so middle of the pack.
You can start Cousins. Strong Style Ninja said ride it hot with Cousins. I wouldn't blame you if you threw Cousins in there, but I'm going Fields, Lamar, Cousins in that order. Coop, you didn't answer. Who are you rolling out there?
I don't know. I was just on the sideline trying to stir the pot, like trying to set sick JL on you. But I think I would start Lamar over all those guys if he's healthy, just for the matchup. Like the matchup versus the Falcons is nice. The thing with Cousins is that like he has dug his holes and he's clawed his way out. There've been a couple games where he didn't claw his way out, and it can be pretty ugly in those cases.
It can be bad. Kyrie in here had a question for us. Said, should I play the Cowboys defense with Hurts being out, or should I play the Titans or the Chargers? Titans going up against the Texans, like we were talking about previously, and the Chargers have the Colts on Monday night. Cowboys versus the Eagles, tough matchup, but no Jalen Hurts. Where you rolling here, Coop? Cowboys, Chargers, or the other one I said, Titans?
Cowboys, Chargers, or Titans? Minshew does feel like he'd be good for a pick 6, doesn't he?
A few maybe. If you're lucky.
Right? For real though, like
A
He's a-
reverse pick 6 is more like it.
he's a real huck it, chuck it guy. I think I would start with the Cowboys. It was Cowboys, Titans,
or Chargers. Chargers going up against the Colts. Titans going up against the Texans.
I'm starting the Cowboys. The Cowboys. They, if you were looking for upside, sacks, turnovers, that's what them Cowboys do.
John Luke, what about you?
I think I'd go Chargers against these Colts here. No Jonathan Taylor. Chargers defense is not the worst. Pretty good.
Yeah. Now, I think if you're going to consider the Chargers, I would like for Derwin James to be playing. He has not played the last couple of weeks, but he's been close to playing. So I think that's a big. I don't mind that play at all to try and go after a team that's, lost Jonathan Taylor and is really kind of reeling. But I would want Derwin James in the game. He is a game-changing player. One of the best safeties in the league.
There's one more question. Want to make sure we hit this one before we end here. Nick had a question for us. Says, would you guys play Knight, Zonovan Bam Knight, or Isaiah Pacheco in standard scoring?
Standard scoring.
Give me Pacheco, I think. I'll take Isaiah Pacheco going up against the Seattle Seahawks here. It's not the world's easiest matchup for him, but trust his role a little bit more. Where are you
Jets
rolling?
have Jacksonville.
It's the right format for Pacheco, right?
Yeah. John Luke, what about you?
Agreed. I'll go Pacheco. Donovan Knight, I wouldn't be too afraid to play him against Jacksonville.
No, I think they're both very startable players, but I'm going to roll out Pacheco ahead of you guys. I'm agreeing here. Everyone who came in and joined in with us today, thank you so much for hanging out with us on this beautiful Tuesday morning. We will be back tomorrow morning and the next day, every day, Monday through Friday from 7 to 10 a.m. Eastern time. Doing this, talking ball, answering questions, and talking about which fantasy characters for movies we want to be and how drippy peanut butter is. Stick around here on Better Sports Network the rest of the day today. Coming up next, we got Moose and Keith, followed by Lunch Money presented by Fantasy Guru, then Corey Nando and friends to answer all of your toughest fantasy questions. We will be back tomorrow. Can't wait to see you guys then. Until then, adios, everyone.
Bye.